who they are.
Yeah, I think that, Mike, the problem with your analysis, and I think we're very good at doing this in the West, is that we project our own value systems and our own reasoning and calculus onto jihadists in the Middle East. And so we say, well, surely Hamas has realized now that Israel can eliminate them with ease. And so they're going to change course. It's going to be big kumbaya, and we're going to start to phase out this war. Listen to what they are telling you, Mike. They are chanting as we speak about regrouping, reassembling, and until every single Jew in that region is eviscerated. So I don't know where you get this from other than your own projection.
No, I mean, dude, I'm thinking about it just in terms of probabilities, okay? There's two different outcomes, which is the war resumes or this ceasefire leads to just kind of a series of more agreements or something, for at least for the short term. So, this is a personal judgment call. We don't know the future. You got to imagine what is going to happen. But, I think it's a good chance that the war is over. I kind of just try and take the pulse of things and see what it seems like. And that's the feeling I'm getting from, the government, different levels of the governments. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure.
You've spoken to the ministers? And
Okay.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure from Trump not to violate the ceasefire.
Yeah. This is obtuse. Nobody has indicated that this is over. In fact, Israel has indicated the exact opposite. I don't think anybody is satisfied with what's just happened. So this is an obtuse analysis. I don't think we have to keep repeating the same obtuse analysis over and over again. I just don't see the reason for it.
Well, Daniel, I think you're the only person here currently living in Israel. I mean, I've seen a poll that showed a majority of Israelis support giving this deal a chance, but I haven't seen any polls suggesting what Mike was claiming, which is that Israelis want this to be the end of the conflict.
I mean, I think what's really happening is this is so that we can turn to Hamas does not pose in the short term an existential threat to Israel. So now Israel gets to turn its attention to potentially existential threats, to larger threats, including Iran, which is the big kahuna, obviously, and including Judea and Samaria, and including Jordan, and including Egypt. Those are other concerns besides Hamas. So Hamas is basically a little band of pirates that come and take your women and then go parading around with pickup trucks. It's not difficult for Israel to keep them. It's just we really failed in terms of intelligence. If anything, Israel has to resolve to focus the kind of intelligence on Hamas that we did on Hezbollah, which did pose a much greater threat.
Mike, I cannot invite you. You need to click your profile and then accept invite. I cannot invite you again. Just click on your face and then accept invite.
Yeah, I would slightly disagree, Norm. It was a fundamental failure of how to analyze basic intelligence. The warning signs, from everything that I've read, and I'm not an insider, I'm not perfect, but just from my analysis, from over here on my couch in Clubhouse, reading about the women who were talking about the kids approaching the fence and playing with the cameras and throwing rocks at it, and the movements, and then the lull a few days before. I think it was 48 hours.
I'm calling it an intelligence failure. What do you
Yeah. No, I thought you were saying that they didn't have the intelligence like they did in Lebanon. They had the intelligence.
I'm calling it an intelligence failure.
Okay, I call it an analysis failure. Having the data and doing something with the data.
Analysis is the most important part of intelligence.
Yeah, I agree. I was trying to interpret what you were saying. I wasn't sure if you were saying they didn't have it or they had it and they just didn't analyze it right.
We weren't paying attention to them. We had judged them to be less of a threat than they turned
Yeah.
out to be.
And there was a deployment failure too.
Yeah, it was a convergence of horrible failures for which we will. Well, I mean, this goes down in history, along with the victories that came after it, being the historic and epic victories.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of investigations. When they start, I don't know. Daniel, do you have any idea of that?
About what?
Have they been? I'm assuming they keep on saying, "Well, we'll analyze who did what wrong when after this is all over." But I assume that's
You mean in Israel?
yeah.
They already they tried to push it. They already started the IDF already started investigating himself. There's also like something called how do I translate it? ועדת חקירה אזרחית, like a civil
Like a
inquiry investigation, and now there are like demands that like basically the government, last year before 7th October there was this entire fight between the government and the judicial system, and the government are now saying, okay, we cannot trust the judges to do this investigation, and then they want it to be politicized, so the coalition and opposition will decide who will be on this team. And other people are saying, no, it shouldn't be political at all, it should be judges. So it's now they're trying to kind of delay it. But the IDF specifically already started. I think they need to submit their results by the end of this month to the Ministry of Defense, and then Herzi Halevi, the chief of staff, is to resign his position. But yes, obviously there will be investigation. The thing that the IDF is saying that many of the people that are now required to fight are the same people that are also required for the investigation. The priority right now is to do the fighting rather than to do the investigation. Now that the hostilities has at least stopped for a while, I guess they can put the focus back on investigating. So I think it will now actually be faster. Okay, I see Harry is back. So Harry, you're welcome. Harry, I give you 2 minutes to apologize for your violent threats. I hope you had like 10 minutes to cool off wherever you were. And if not, take 10 more minutes and come back. If you do not apologize for your violent threat, I want to tell you that it's illegal what you're doing, and that's it. And I will not stay silent on violent threats. So grow up, apologize, be a man. If you need a few more minutes for your ego, go and come back, but you will have to apologize. Otherwise, I will have to block you and kick you from the house. Unfortunately, we have one rule in this house, and the rule is no violent threats to anyone. Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
I had a strange feeling an apology will not be forthcoming from
All right.
Harry.
So there are consequences, no problem. And as far as I know, and I will find out who he is, and as far as I know,
No,
it's also in the United States.
The doxing thing, that's not cool.
Listen, he's threatening me to fuck me up in Tel Aviv. I have my real name and my real face. I don't know if doxing is more important than my safety, but I care for my safety. So if he's threatening me and he knows my name and my face and he can dox me and actually hit me, then with all due respect, I care for this for it. He can apologize, but if he doesn't want to apologize, it even makes me more scared of him. And threatening people is illegal. And and I took a screenshot, he can apologize, he doesn't want to. No, it's his call. He's a grown man. As I said, unless he's officially retarded or a child, he has no excuse. So Harry, don't talk out of your ass. Don't talk out of your ego. Take a minute, cool off, apologize, show that you're a bigger man.
So now we give them the worst criminals you can find, and then we wait. Now this part is over for 1 week. Is that it? No more for another week. Is that right? Anybody? Daniel? David?
I'm sorry, what?
Okay, two things. First of all, by the way, everybody is extremely upset right now, Daniel. I don't even want to tell you how upset people are. There's something very strange about this, and it's understandable. So maybe an extra portion of grace just for now. I do know this guy. He's not violent or anything like that. He's just upset. It's just
Okay,
words.
so,
It's just like,
No problem. So
okay.
whenever he's ready to apologize, we can move on. But
I think we can move on without the apology. I think it's okay.
Let me apologize on this.
Guys, listen. People call me many names here, okay? I never ask anyone to take it back. There is one line, and please respect it, that is a violent threat, okay? I think people call me a kike, people call me a pig, people call me many horrible names, even call me Nazi, even Shuki called me a Nazi, okay? I have a big C and I don't give a fuck about any of them.
Look, they don't call you fat. Nobody has called you fat.
Even fat and a fag, I've been called all kinds of names. I don't give a fuck about any of this. If anything, I'm happy because it exposes those ignorant people. But I personally, and I think that you should adopt it, have a line which is a violent threat. When he tells me I will come to Tel Aviv and I will fuck you up, and I have my name and I have my face, and I don't know who he is, then I'm giving him a chance to take it back. Otherwise, I will pursue this, Harry. I don't think that any of us should accept violent threat, and I expect you to actually back me up, because I would back you up if anyone would threaten you, not if anyone would offend you.
I back you up.
If anyone would offend you, you are all big men.
All right, let's go to what's next in the hostage. Now that this is the big climax, which is very weirdly anticlimactic. What is next? What are we looking at? We give them these disgusting, filthy criminals who kill innocent people, and then this is the course of the week. Do we know what we're expecting?
This week,
you know,
we have 4 more. This what you asked? We went
Yeah,
to 4
we're getting 4 more Israelis, or
yes, I will tell you. I will tell you exactly. I mean, we have the girls that were taken from Nahal Oz, the Watchers, and we have the Bibas family, and I think the Watchers will be first. Okay,
the
Harry.
fact that they're delayed.
Sorry, bye. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
The fact that they're
go ahead.
the fact they didn't put the Bibas first is upsetting to me.
I think.
I mean, this is such psychological. That's what I think. That's exactly what I think. Daniel, it's exactly what I'm saying. It's exactly.
They were supposed to be last time, like in last year in November.
I know.
And the reason that they did it.
I think
this is really, go ahead.
They're dead. Probably they are dead. That's why.
That's what we're not saying. That's what we're thinking. That's what we didn't say. It's unspoken.
Yeah.
This is the worst, right? It makes you want to cry. You're gonna see the little coffin. And we're gonna see what the world says when they see this. Anyway, I think from our feelings right now, you can see, I think Israelis are getting angry. 50, maybe you want to say. Why didn't you say what people are feeling right now?
Relief for the hostages, but of course angry. Look at the picture. But I think the Hamas made a mistake. Look at the PTR. Now the whole world see who are the Gazans. You see, many armed terrorists surrounding innocent women. They did
Oh,
the
you
best
have
best Hasbara.
And you have videos of them. I just saw like on the news, German news, they show the videos from like, people celebrating in Gaza. Now the people in the news don't really understand Arabic, but what they were chanting is Khaybar, Khaybar, Ya Yahud. In the middle of fucking Gaza. Okay, like there's a Hamasnik with like many kids and people. It was on today. Yes.
Today.
Yes. I'm sorry, they meant Khaybar, Ya Zionist. No. They meant Khaybar, Ya Yahud, which is basically a call to slaughter Jews. So anyone that is kind of trying to gaslight you and tell you it's not about Jews, it's about Zionism, it's about occupation. No, it's about the death cult that hates Jews. And it's from today, from the center of Gaza with children. This is what they're indoctrinating them, to hate Jews. And I see many videos coming out from Gaza, and every time there's like translation, and every time they say Yahud, the translation would say Zionist or Israeli or IDF. But you can hear, so anyone that doesn't speak Arabic, whenever you see like a video coming from Gaza and you hear the word Yahud, Yahud means Jew. It doesn't mean Israeli, it doesn't mean Zionist, it means a Jew.
I know. That picture from Swifty, who just disappeared for a second, was that from today, that picture?
Yes. This is when they did this ransom deal in the middle of Gaza City. Like, we saw the line of cars from the Red Cross driving alone. They told them where to meet them. They told them to meet them in the center of Gaza City with thousands of people around, with all the ammunition, with all the uniform, which they apparently have. As a big display, they brought Al Jazeera that was basically on their faces. One of the people that I saw that was basically on the car was one of the terrorists. That he was basically supposed to be dead. This is one of the terrorists that was on 7th of October on the land of like in Israel. Now he's with a press vest of Al Jazeera. So they are showing force.
Wait, and how did you recognize him?
He's known. Like he was one of the people that was broadcasting, so we know his face. And he keeps on, like, he's still an Al Jazeera journalist. And there was like a woman walking by, and she's like, they were giving out baklava, and she was shouting at them, "Why are you giving out baklava? What are you happy? You obviously didn't lose anyone," or something along those lines. The people that suffered will never get a chance to speak in Gaza.
When were they handing out baklava? Today?
Yes, today, because of the ceasefire. And you will see that they all, like in this gathering, there was like many Hamas flags and many Palestinian flags. All of them are new. Everybody had fresh haircuts. Everybody's well fed. Those are the Hamas people. I'm not sure that the rest of the Palestinians are as happy. People that are supporting Hamas are not really supporting the Palestinian people, unless we can say that all people in Gaza are Hamas.
So I want to focus on our values for 1 second. The Lubavitcher Rebbe said, never, ever, ever negotiate for hostages. Never do it. End of story. Don't do it. And we both know why. Because this means they're going to do it again and again. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson of blessed memory.
Don't you have like a Pidyon Shvuim that you need? Is it a mitzvah to do a Pidyon Shvuim to redeem?
Yes, that is correct. It is an obligation upon Jews to redeem any hostages.
So how is it a contradiction? And again, we're talking about
this is. I agree. So this is the conundrum that we're in. On the other hand, every life is a whole world. So each person that we redeem, we're negotiating for the whole world. So this is the problem. The problem is we have to be able to think long term. Also, obviously, this is telling them this is a good way that this works. This is how we can we take one woman, we can get 1,000 killers in exchange for one woman. So this is the conundrum that we're in. We value human life. We want our people back. They value death. They tell us over and over again. They say, don't worry, this life is not the whole thing. We're ready to start the life after death. And we're saying that we value life. We do believe that there's a world to come, a world of truth, but we're supposed to also stay in this world and do good deeds. So this is the conflict that we face. So we have to understand that we made a decision, not that the war is over, not that we agree with these monstrous acts, but that we value the life of a woman and a child. We just have to live with it.
At the end, it's blackmail, okay? They took something that is precious to us, which is human life, and they asked for ransom. It happened before, and sometimes if you want to have the person back, you need to pay the ransom. I mean, it happened, we saw it even in movies, they take someone, they ask for a ransom, you don't pay, they send you a finger of that person, and then you say, okay, this is my son, my mother, I will give them the $2 million that I asked him. This time, the price that they asked is prisoners. Now, the prisoner is also a price, because those prisoners, it means that there are people in Israel right now that see that the person that stabbed their parents, that killed their child, is being released. It's not like, we have less prisoners in jail. No, those people some of them have blood on their hand, and those people have families, and they want justice. So it is a big price to pay, but we pay it because it's an extortion and ransom demand. Yeah.
I think that this trade, and it goes without saying that the prisoners who are released will go back to their profession as a terrorist. That's true too. But Israel is vigilant. Israel will be watching these people from the sky and from the ground. And these released prisoners. And that's all I can say is, never give up. It's not an ideal deal. It's far from it. But it's just one battle in a much bigger war. And in the bigger war, Israel is winning. And that's all I can say. That's all I want to add to this.
Randy, they had the ultimate doxing. Their names, their faces, their fingerprints, they've been fully doxed.
Of course. But listen, it's never black and white. No. They're going to be out. They will go back to being career terrorists. They may be celebrities. But I believe that Israel is going to be very vigilant. This October 7th and the aftermath is a massive wake-up call. It's an understatement to call it a wake-up call. But now Israel can now be prepared for the worst. They weren't prepared for the worst, and now they will be prepared for the worst. And monitoring these people is part of it. Thanks. I hope I don't offend anyone with what I said.
I'm offended, Randy.
I'm not offended.
I'm offended, but I wasn't listening, so maybe it doesn't count.
Well, you were offended.
Maybe just apologize just in case, Randy. Just in case.
I feel like I already did.
By the way, I missed you last night, and I appreciate the invitation, and it was great. And I'll tell you back channel. It was amazing.
Okay, tell me back channel. Enough said. Yes.
Well, maybe I'll say it here. She did an hour on the death of her parents.
We're talking about Sarah Silverman, the comedian.
That is correct.
She did an hour on the death of her parents.
That's right.
Wow.
Isn't she a raunchy comedian?
Yeah.
Well,
So what? She did a very serious discussion, or was jokes, or interspersed?
No, it was an hour. It was a stand-up performance.
It was at the Beacon Theater.
Oh, it was jokes.
Yeah.
Where was this?
The Beacon Theater.
Beacon.
That is, I have
75th and Broadway.
That's Jerry Seinfeld has a residency there.
Yeah, that's where I saw Bob
That was
Dylan.
fantastic.
I
Yeah.
seen Bob Dylan there twice.
Paul
I saw
Simon.
Paul Simon. It's a happening place.
I saw Paul Simon. It's the best place. It's
How many
fantastic.
people? It was like
Did you
2,000
ever see a show at Webster
No, it
Hall?
seems like more. I
Did you
don't
ever
know
see
the
Webster
number.
Hall?
What's the question, David?
Did you ever see a show at Webster Hall?
Yeah, it used to be called the Ritz. Yeah,
So here's the thing I wanted to say about the day.
but Webster Hall doesn't have seating. The Beacon has seating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the city. That's a good concert. It's a good, you get a good mosh pit going.
and you can't dance to a stand-up comedian. At least I
Well,
can.
you can, but it's
Well,
just
they have the balcony though at Webster Hall.
Awkward.
All right, you got me looking it up. Beacon Theater capacity.
Right, that's not that important.
I would have
though.
guessed 6,000.
Norm, you want to guess?
No, I think it's a relevant side note.
I asked a question.
28.94.
It's like
I'm gonna
also,
set
by
up
the way,
28.94.
That's tiny.
How much, Randy?
28.94, and now I'll be muted.
Thank you very much.
Randy, while we're on the subject, how many jelly beans do I have in this jar, Randy?
PTR the jar.
Well, we can't see it. We're
You can't
talking
on the
about a
jar.
public thing that you're
666.
referencing. If it comes up in conversation, someone in the
can't see the jelly
conversation.
I have a question.
No,
was
I
the whole show 1
Somebody in the
hour?
conversation has a question
Norm.
related to
She
the
does- she
topic.
does
Did she do any material not about the death?
What brand of jelly beans? Is it Jelly Billy?
Guys,
Norm.
It's the
Was there
fancy
an
one.
opening comic, by the way?
Yeah, her boyfriend Rory, and he was really good.
Oh, she's dating a guy named Rory.
I have a friend named
Yeah.
Rory. I always thought that was a cool name.
She used to date Michael, what's his name? The British actor.
Fassbender?
No, the British actor who played like Tony Blair, and he's famous. He played David
Fassbender.
Cross. What's his name? That great looking Michael. Is it Sheehan?
Tony Blair in The Queen.
What about when she was with Jimmy Kimmel?
Oh, of course, they should have married.
That was a famous one. That was pretty good.
Yeah. Listen, she's a
Yeah, but
beautiful lady.
they were too Michael. Jimmy Kimmel and her were too much alike. They would never work.
You know she's over 50 now, Randy. She looks great too, and she performed in a pair of jeans and a vest.
Does she have any
Like
kids?
She always wears the
No.
same outfit, kind of very casual jeans. And
Norm, I'm over 40.
Are you? No way.
No, that's not possible.
Yes, it happened. It snuck up on me. So, listen.
And just
I
like
just,
that.
you know what it is with Sarah and me? We're never single at the same time.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna first basis with her already?
She's single, and I'm involved with someone. Then I'm single, and she's dating
you and
Michael
Sarah.
Sarah. It never worked out.
It's Mrs. Silverman to you, or Ms. Silverman, sorry.
Anyway,
So she did an hour on the death of her parents. It was hilarious, and like you're crying and laughing at the same time.
wow.
I remember when I saw Jesselnick, and he did like a half an hour on abortion, and I was like, this can't be funny, but actually it was funny.
Jesselnick is amazing.
By the
Yeah,
way,
I saw
Norm,
that
there's a
near-
term for when you cry and laugh at the same time. It's called crafted. I crafted.
Oh.
I cried and I laughed.
I didn't know that.
it sounds like you shit in your pants. That's a terrible word. It really sounds like something
I
else.
crafted. Yeah.
It doesn't sound good. I don't want to craft.
So, to me, it sounds like witchcraft.
I don't know. It just doesn't
Check
work.
your thoughts. No, okay. On the subject of this hostage situation, I don't even know what to call it. This exchange. What we're worth to look at is a clash in civilizations. I mean, I hate to be cliche, but I think it's worth considering. It's a clash in civilizations, meaning we value one thing and they value something else.
Yeah, there's good guys and there's bad guys, but some people like to fudge with it and say, well, no, it's not so simple. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Like you're releasing, Hamas is releasing babies and Israel's releasing murderers. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah, there's a stark difference. By the way, remember all this time we were hearing, hey,
Babies,
Israel is holding Palestinian children. Did they ask for a single one? One? No, they did not. Do you remember all that? Oh, yeah, administrative detention, Palestinian children.
Yeah.
Israel's holding them.
I'm not
Also
aware that
good.
they are holding children, by the way. You mean like what? Like people who threw rocks and did...
No, well, there's that, and then there's 12 and 13. There's one guy who he was holding the knives, and his buddy went and stabbed somebody. So they shot the buddy, and they arrested the guy with the knives.
I mean, a 13-year-old can do some
That's what
damage.
would happen in the U.S., but then we would let them out the next day or within 3 hours.
Well, you can send them to juvie.
And we don't even do that anymore.
And the Ministry of Information of Palestine took the clip where the 15-year-old, his brother, was shot and spread it to all the properly idiots. Oh, look how the IOF occupation is executing random children. This is, I can show you the YouTube that it's still alive, the way that they kind of try to frame this, the Palestinian Authority or whatever they call themselves.
Was that the debate you were having with that guy yesterday, the day before, about the father and son? Or was that a different father and son?
No, this is Muhammad Adura. This case, what we're talking about is two, I think they're cousins. One is 13 and one is 15-year-old that went on a stabbing spree. You know, they always talk about comparing, and I think also Nuad is trying to do this symmetry between Israeli children and Palestinian children. And I ask how many Israeli children ever stabbed any Palestinian, adult or a child. And then let's see how many Palestinian children stabbed Israeli children and Israeli men and Israeli women. Not the adults, I'm talking about children from 13 or like around that age. There is no symmetry. Unfortunately, fortunately, that we are not the same. And now the video that I saw today the video from today in Gaza of a Hamas militant with like covered face, with a gun, with his with his finger pointing to the sky. You know, there's only one Allah, and he's chanting Khaybar Khaybar Ya Yahud, and all the kids and like masses of kids are chanting with him. They are being indoctrinated from very young age to hate Jews. I know what it means. I know what it means. I don't need to speak Arabic for this. This is basically the limits of that I have in Arabic. And the level of gaslighting that Palestinians don't refuse it. Whenever we will talk about the indoctrination, they will find this image of like of this museum that people are playing with guns. Oh, you're indoctrinating your children. No, we don't. We have Arabs in our classes. We have Arabs teacher. We have Arabs everywhere. Gaza is unified. There are no Jews there.
You have Arabs,
It's
you have
not the
Arabs
same.
in your parliament.
Yes, we have Arabs everywhere. Literally everywhere. And when they are using those children, instead of those Palestinians to call out against it, they're not. But then they are crying when they die. But when you send a child to be a watcher, or when you send a child to throw a stone, and I see them, then they call him a hero. Look, the child is standing against the occupation forces without a fear and throwing stones. They make them into martyrs, the heroes. No, children should be protected at home. You don't need to encourage them to go throw stones, because when you throw a stone at a police officer, you might get shot. But then it's a double win, because if the child gets shot, they get to say, oh, the IDF is killing children. It's a mentality that it's not like ours. It's a different ideology of like this, I don't know, that they say that the life begins at death. I don't know, I don't care, to be honest. I really don't care. Just want them to stay the fuck away from me as long as they want to try and kill Jews.
Well, Daniel, you don't have to care, but somebody has to care, because we have to figure out what exactly the button is that we have to push to keep them from hurting us. What's the solution? And I think.
Okay.
I
didn't know that. I thought you were asking. Yeah.
I have a solution.
Hang on 1 second. To me, the solution is what we did to Hezbollah, which is just the kind of intelligence that just surprises them and makes it impossible for them to move forward. We have to outthink them. This is Israel's strength. Well,
yeah, you're talking about 2 decades from now. You're talking about 2 decades from now. This is kind of an operation that is years in the planning with lots of intel and reconnaissance. It's not something that you just cannot implement.
Well, if you want to be here for decades, then we have to think about decades.
Well, someone just wrote in the chat that apparently it was Israel who started the whole thing and was planning it from the beginning. So, guys, just wait. I guess, Israel has the plan going along, and, maybe we'll see in the end. Haha.
We planned what? We planned this war?
Did you see in the
Is what they
chat?
say?
Yeah. They
No.
they planned for all the 15. How many? What's the number of that on the 7th, right? So for all of the hostages. Yeah, that was.
This is the problem with many Palestinians, that they never take accountability. They blame, how many times did you hear this statement? Israel created Hamas. They have zero accountability, zero. And this is why they keep on repeating the same mistake and keep on dying. At some point, they need to change their disc and say, okay, maybe this whole resistant fighting that we are bullshitting ourselves is not working. Maybe let's try peace for once. After 75 years, maybe let's try peace.
They're not going to do that. And, I agreed with you on the intelligence, but it's hard to kill an ideology. Now, we killed the Nazi ideology because we controlled the ground. We took out
There's no need to kill an ideology. The thing to do is to make it so that they can't hurt us physically. I don't care what their thoughts are.
I understand. Yeah. What I'm saying is you can wipe out their top leadership. You can do exactly what we did to Hezbollah, and there'll be more people that will take up the cause, and they will form new leadership, and they will continue to do this. The reason why that didn't happen after Germany capitulated is we occupied the land, we controlled it, we were able to snuff out anything, and until
we're occupying Gaza. We're occupying.
I understand, but if we retreat out of Gaza, then it'll be like Cast Lead 2014. They'll just reconstitute themselves. They'll rearm. They'll and then in a few years, they'll.
You mean Cast Lead?
Something similar. Cast Lead, LEAD. That's however.
We're talking about bullets. It's lead.
I thought the operation was LEAD, Cast Lead, LEAD.
Yeah, LEAD is lead. It's what you make out of bullets. Cast lead.
Yeah, it's
whatever. That's how I pronounce it.
Right, it's Cast lead.
Okay, Cast lead. Thank you for correcting me. I do appreciate that.
Yaakov, isn't the issue that in comparison to all those other conflicts, Israel is the only country that's not allowed to win a war once and for all. And so long as
they're held back.
So long as they're held back and they're not allowed to win a war, this will continue forever.
So
and I agree with Norm that the goal should not be the eradication of an ideology. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. But military strongholds, ability to reassemble and exact what they want to exact, which is the elimination of every Jew, that is what needs to be targeted. And that is a feasible goal so long as this interference stops and the constant withdrawing and pulling back before victory stops.
Correct. And so the question is, how do you prevent them from rearming? And that will be the key goal of Israel going forward, is how to prevent arms from being created, meaning manufactured, and arms being imported.
Why wouldn't we employ, or why wouldn't the world employ the same tactics we did in getting rid of Nazis? Obviously, Nazism never went away, right? The ideology never went away. But they were not, by the international community, not allowed to be in power ever again.
Correct.
And until there's a coalition, and hopefully that includes the United States now, where we are not soft on this rhetoric, that we don't pussyfoot around, and we absolutely call it out for the terrorist organization that they are, and they are not allowed, as a condition of their very existence, they are not allowed to be in power, ever, anywhere on the earth.
But the international community, in our case, He's aligning with the terrorists. This is the problem. You have the UN and Amnesty and ICC and ICJ and HRW. They are not condemning and saying, no, Palestinianism is a bad thing like Nazism. No, they're calling them freedom fighters and giving them money and prosecuting
need
us.
some countries to grow a backbone. You literally are going to need some countries, namely us, the U.S., are going to have to quit placating, stop using language that waters down what they actually fucking are. Let the ICJ, let them do what they're going to do. Make them be on the other side of this. I think the United States has got to stop. That's why I didn't mind Trump's words. Whether or not he caused or helped or whatever, I don't actually care. But being very firm and being very direct in our language has to happen.
Yeah, Al. Yeah. I mean, you know, Imperial Japan wasn't just a political entity, it was also a religious entity. They literally worshipped their emperor. And here's an analogy. It took Germany 2 world wars to get the memo. It took Japan 2 atomic bombs to get the memo.
Yeah.
So there's only one question. The question is, what will it take for these jihadists, Nazi jihadists, to get the memo?
You may hate the bomb. I agree with you. You may hate that bomb, but in the end,
and there was also American forces on the ground in Tokyo, in the major cities. And there was also American and the creation of forces on the ground in Tokyo, in the major cities.
Why is there an echo?
We have the capability to give the message. The problem is, Jeff, there's an echo for you. We have the message, we can give them the message. The problem is that we are not allowed to. The problem is not Israel delivering the message or even the Palestinians getting the message, is that the international community, and it was also a part also of the Biden administration, is tying our hands. It's the EU and all those organizations that are not allowing us to give the message. This is the problem. We can give the message very easily if we were just allowed. Imagine that we would do any of those things that you said right now.
Dev, if it were possible to do, I'm responding to the chat. And try not to abuse each other in the chat, please. It's unnecessary and uncivilized. If the solution you suggest, which is you go over there and we're going to be over here, is a solution, but it's not possible because we don't behave in this manner. We don't transfer people. We don't ethnically cleanse. So they go around chanting they want to commit genocide. And then when they attack us and we kibosh them, they call, hey, you know, you're committing a genocide. As though they're projecting their wishes upon us. So unfortunately, it's a little more complicated, Zev, to transfer people. We don't do that. That's not what the Jews do. So we have to come up with a solution. I say the solution is this. If you want to live in peace, then please, you're fine. And if you don't want to live in peace, then we're going to sanction you. There's going to be a consequence. I think that's the only possibility, as well as changing the educational system that they've been brought in to stop the indoctrination. I mean, the problem is incentives. We keep thinking this is what Clinton did, this is what, I don't know who else, that if we offered them a nice life, then they would be peaceful. And what we're seeing is that message is not as powerful as the message of jihad. And that's what I think we're now contending with. That's the conflict.
I don't know how you combat this when they ask for deaths. It's something they celebrate. Like it's almost like you're giving them what they want when they die. How do you combat an enemy like that?
They celebrate martyrdom.
You take a little piece of them, and you stop holding on to life and peace as the noblest cause, and you take a Marwan Barghouti and you say, if you don't give back all of our terrorists in a month, Barghouti dies. And then if they don't do it, you kill him. You execute him. And you execute the guy in the next cell and the next cell and the next cell. Because what Israel can't keep doing is giving back prisoners, and they can't do that if they've been executed.
Okay, I mean, this is a big change you're asking for, Jeff. We don't have the death penalty right now. We don't have I guess penalty right now. I guess we could.
Yeah, they need to immediately. They need to immediately during the truce.
I guess we could.
They need to immediately during the truce pass legislation that permits the death penalty with prisoners. Send the message that if they fuck this up, they're all going to die.
It's not a bad idea, Jeff. You want to talk about this a little bit? I haven't even heard this in Israel. Is there anybody living in Israel now?
I also think that we should start implementing, at least for people that are mass murderers, let's say that you should get more than multiple 3, whatever the number is. So, we have like a high threshold still. But if you killed more than X people, the death penalty would be available for you. And then we would have less expenses on jail, and they would have less reasons for them to kidnap people because there is nothing to exchange.
Okay, here's another thing. How about the fact that here's another thing. They are they're proxies for IRGC, and basically the world needs to condemn what's happening in Iran right now, and to all the people of Iran and the proxies. Hopefully will follow suit.
By the way, they could also just attack Iran. That's also an option. And it would be an interesting point.
Take the next left onto Southeast 11th Street.
Go into a truce so that Hamas is legally bound to not attack Israel at the same time attack Iran. That would actually, if Hamas got involved, that would be them violating the truce. So the Arab world's greatest weapon against Israel is our humanity. That's the bottom line. And we just need to accept the fact that for us to do what needs to be done, we're going to have to compromise it to a certain degree. And we've already done it. I mean, we're not really going down a moral slippery slope to allow executions of terrorists. I think it's far more morally problematic to demolish the homes of the parents of the terrorists and the siblings of the terrorists than it is just execute the terrorists. And they're ready to.
The thing with the family is because some of the terrorists, blow themselves up, so you cannot really punish them, and you want to also stop the. I understand what you're saying, and you are right, but this thing with the houses is a counter to the pay for slay concept. So if you go and you blow yourself up, and then your parents get money, we take that money in a way.
They just need to solve the jail overcrowding problem by executing them one by one by one by one. Or hell, 10 by 10, I don't care.
But do you want to discuss this? I haven't even heard this before. The idea of reinstituting the death penalty in Israel. I haven't heard it discussed.
Theoretically, we do have it. Theoretically, we have it. Okay. Basically, according to the law, like the military law, we could execute terrorists. It was just never ever implemented. Never.
I mean, I suspect one of the concerns is if they turn them into martyrs.
So,
Okay, maybe you're right.
Also,
I mean, with
don't
the-
like
That's a sunk cost, right?
Maybe you're right.
That's a sunk
Also,
cost.
don't like it.
So turning him into a martyr is only a valid concern to the extent that them preferring peace over death is valid. They've shown that they are determined to die or to destroy Israel. So turning them into martyrs is better than letting them live and giving them back.
You're saying we should have killed them instead of trading them back?
Yes, we should have killed every one of them long before October 7th even happened. If all the terrorists are dead that are in custody, then there's no trade. Then there's no motivation for them to take hostages in the first place.
I think it's a little short-sighted. Like, the prisons will always have somebody in there. Because Israel is managing some of the security. So when someone is arrested for theft or rape or murder, right, whatever kind of a particular crime, they end up in there. Not everyone is worthy of the death penalty. Probably very few are worthy of the death penalty, which is why they haven't, executed anybody. I'm saying, like, no matter how you always have some segment of the prison population echo.
I gotta deal with this echo.
Thanks. You'll always have prisoners that the Palestinians want to negotiate for. So, like, there will always be an incentive to just kidnap Israelis. And like, the thing is this isn't like news that the Palestinians would randomly want to, like, wander through the border and kill anyone they found. Like, they've been saying that. They've been saying that for 100 years. Israel dropped the ball. Like, I knew that day one. Everyone knew that day one. It's just like Israel had to focus on getting into Gaza to save whoever was still alive. And, cause whatever damage so that everyone knows not to do this ever again. But other than that, Israel fucked up. That's why, like, regardless of what you do, like, even if you did destroy Hamas entirely, it's still Israel's fuck up. Like, the survivors that are anti-Hamas but want to destroy Israel in a different way, they'll just do the same fucking thing if you don't control your damn borders. That's the tragedy of this war. Israel should have done better.
And the further tragedy is to continue to allow a threat this hostile to remain just feet away from where you're trying to exist. Well, it can't just be about building a stronger wall. It's over. This conflict cannot end until Hamas and all its counterparts and various terror organizations are perhaps not fully eradicated, but their military strongholds and capabilities are eviscerated.
So, was this about getting the prisoners back, or was this about the occupation? Or both?
It's about Jews.
I think that's the problem. There's no whoever isn't I'm not even as versed as I'm trying to be. That's why I listen more than I speak. But just to say that, I think the confusion amongst the general public is also causation for what we're seeing, right?
Okay, she is.
I know, I'm in so much pain. Like,
why you're in pain? Like, obviously, I know you're in pain, but you need to stop being messy.
I had surgery.
Doesn't matter. You remind me of a child right now. Like, you're avoiding the question, and you're like, my pain or...
You need a finished case. Like, what do you want to buy? I'm trying to sell you.
I mean,
I threw him and hit him with a false wire fraud charge and had him deported. But there's another bit of history where the government went after people trying to better Black America. And those are the kind of things that Donald Trump doesn't want taught in schools anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the things that really is like made me disappointed for it was the fact that they were banning books.
Hold on a second. Tell me more about this race play that you had with this guy.
He was beating this kitty cat.
You don't have a kitty cat.
On the charge, I'll pay her. I need a couple people dogs. I already got some people, but I need more people. I'm hollering. Did anybody see whatchamacallit since she got the spin on thing? Who?
She claimed. My question is, was she a celebrity or on his same level? Like what are you talking about? Huh?
She wasn't at the level.
Okay. She wasn't on his level, right?
No.
So, how do you...
But on one hand...
Yeah, many things are not expected on your model. So the
But
first thing is
at
that
the same
simple
time-
explanation should be more
Hold on.
or
Hold on,
better.
but, no. I think simple explanations being better is true in every possible world. But I want to just table that for a second and just say, but like our universe does have a lot of complexity, not in terms of like the laws that describe it, but just in terms of like the number of particles and all of their locations. And like there is a lot of our universe isn't like a 10x10 box. There's lots of things in it, and they're doing they have lots of properties. Like it is it's a very big universe. It might even literally be infinitely big, according to some cosmologists. So like it's not ontologically simple, even if the laws that describe it surprisingly are kind of simple.
Okay, but that's the whole point. The properties of the universe are not expected given naturalism. So what we observe in physical reality is that things evolving into homogeneous random collection of particles is much more probable than things having some sort of structure or having low entropy.
The reason why I think that like usable heat or whatever, usable energy is totally a thing that's relevant in terms of like, yes, things become heat energy and then you don't get to do anything with them anymore, and that's why it stays heat energy, and that's like important. But that's like a different thing than like describing just like the ontological complexity of a thing. And like a coffee cup, no matter what way you arrange it, whether it has two all white, all black on one side, or whether it's homogeneous, or whether in all of those states, there's just lots of particles in lots of states doing lots of things. There's lots of like the thing has lots of parts.
But I feel like I is correct that like there's more ways for it to be evenly spread throughout the glass than there are for it to be in some other configuration, basically, because that's a coarse grained description that many more microstates satisfy, say. Right?
Yeah.
Like he's right about it.
No, I mean I agree with
the point is that like the entropy stuff, I tried to explain this to the reason I brought up this like cream and coffee thing is because one state is low and the other state
ended up reviewing.
Oh my god, okay, I'll just let you shoot your pants again.
Yeah, so you actually didn't explain anything yesterday, so you ended up providing an example which completely undermined your own position.
This is my kingdom.
The macro states in the coffee example is like closer to when we're talking about our hypotheses. It's more about like our understanding of it. whereas the number of particles and what they're doing is closer to the ontological complexity of it. And that's separate from the usable energy in a system, which is a third thing that's important to talk about. It just isn't the same as like the number of parts of the thing, and like, you know, how many bells and whistles are on it is separate from how many like how much usable energy is in a system, which is separate from how easy it is for humans to describe it. And these are just three different ways of thinking of.
Agamemnon, it's going to be consistent for Sully to be inconsistent, because according to his worldview, there's no reason for him to be consistent, right?
Exactly. And
the reason that the cream and coffee thing was brought up.
He managed to undermine
his
position yesterday.
Okay. Please stop, back up, please. Okay. The point I was trying to illustrate yesterday was that simplicity and complexity don't really purely map onto the concept of entropy increase, because the the half cream, half coffee system and the purely fully homogeneous system, right, are both actually fairly simple in terms of describing them, right? And the things that we're interested in are these interesting swirling patterns that happen along the way from the transition from one to the next. So the idea that complexity actually peaks somewhere in between those two.
It's arbitrary that you care about those swirling patterns and not some other.
Half coffee is as simple as the is more complex than the swirls, or is less complex. And then the point about the half coffee, half cream, the number of macro states or observable macro states to the number of micro states is much higher compared to.
And the mountains was created before the universe. This is scientifically impossible.
And cities and states that are more left, they're radical and they're unfair. Just the same way that Summer of Love, those people, they said, we are anarchists. They said we're a different country. We separated from America. Go look it up. There was one arrest, 0 conviction. Nobody went to prison. And then look at January 6th. They imprisoned 200 people. This
yes,
you
for
think
things like trespassing, destruction of property,
so you're telling me Summer of Love wasn't trespassing? And
I
so
didn't
it's
say
legal.
It wasn't. I'm
so
simply
it's
saying
legal
when they
to
put
close
those people in
cities
jail after
where
January the 6th, they did it because they broke the law. That's why they did it.
Marshall, did they broke the law when they put barricades around a neighborhood where people live?
It was against the law to do what he did.
My God, it wasn't against the law to say we're separated from America and we're anarchists and this is autonomous zone? They're not letting firefighters and police stations in?
What you're doing
That's
is
legal?
when somebody brings up an issue with January the 6th, you go,
your mentality, Marshall, your mentality is why
does not mean there's no rightful
your mentality is why America voted for Trump. So keep on going.
Anything to do with my mentality has to do with the meaning of fucking words.
Keep on going with this dumb thing. You just said Summer of Love was legal.
Haphazard way of blaming people.
You just said Summer of Love was legal.
The cities in the Summer of Love, they did some bad shit too. But the folks that get kicked in windows at the Capitol and were Nancy Pelosi office
and federal buildings people placed on fire.
The law.
There were federal buildings on fire.
Who went through a window.
Show me who
They
went
were
to
breaking
prison.
the law, Sarah.
Okay.
They knew the moment they were doing that, they were doing something illegal.
It's very,
Not to mention
it's very,
the,
you can definitely see when people are
seditious
breaking the law,
conspiracy
that is for
charge.
certain.
So
No,
they
no,
weren't
we
doing
need to
that
stop
in
subscribing
Philadelphia,
to
so they
the,
weren't doing that
hello?
in Philadelphia,
Hello?
Marshall.
Hey, Anne's already
What's
talked.
going on here, guys?
You can go to the
get
audience.
one?
Thank
Can we
you,
get to one
Kofi.
mic? Can we get down to one mic?
1 second. So we need to stop subscribing to the leftist ideology. It was not a summer of love, but what it was the summer of riots. Let's call it for what it is and not use their ideology anymore, because that sounds cute. Summer of love. It was coined that way for a reason. So it's the summer of riots.
That wasn't the point, though. The point was
That was the point. No, that was my point, though. That was what I wanted to insert into the conversation.
They did it in Philadelphia. The National Guard heard what's out.
This is officially a MAGA room.
Marshall,
This is officially
that's
a MAGA
illegal.
room.
It is.
National Guard was out in Philadelphia.
The entire country is MAGA. Kima, get on the train.
No, I'm good. I'm good over here.
Don't worry. None of the illegals. We won't let them burn you or set you on fire.
I'm okay.
I know that you're for this, the illegals coming in here, but if they were going to try and set you on fire, I would save you.
No, I can protect myself, but thank you.
Well, I mean, if you were taking a nap like that girl was, and she wasn't aware, I would be right there.
Protect me from the KKK and the white supremacists. That's what I need to protect.
I haven't seen anybody in those white sheet outfits in a long time.
They wear police uniforms now.
Where'd they go?
Last time they were cleaning up
They
the
wear
highways,
police uniforms and they wear suits and they're in Congress and shit. That's why.
They're in suits in Congress?
Yeah, they wear suits and ties.
One actually just posed as president. He actually did the eulogy for a Grand Dragon.
Yeah, Biden is one. I agree with you. Biden is one. Trump is one as well. Hillary is one. I agree. We can go on down the list. They all are.
They're Klans people?
Hell yeah.
No, they're demons.
They all are. Trump as well. Put them in there with them.
Trump was the only family that didn't own black slaves. Obama did.
That's because he's
Obama's family did.
That's because he's an immigrant. His family came in with immigration.
Everybody here is an immigrant.
When they just allow people to come into the country.
Oh my God, everybody here is an immigrant.
Not me. I'm not an immigrant. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not an immigrant. I'm not. How you want to tell me what I am?
Because I know you're not Sioux or Cherokee or.
You don't
Exactly.
You know that how? How do you know that?
We can tell by the way
You're
that
not
you talk.
Choctaw.
How do you know that?
You're not Choctaw.
How do you know that? I'm an indigenous American. What are you talking about? My family did not come from Africa. What are you talking about? You gonna tell me why? I came from?
Yeah, tell me where you did come from. Then you should be able to rattle it off real quick.
Right here.
Where? Right here? Where?
Right here.
Oh my God.
What tribe are you affiliated with?
A person that's being disingenuous and don't even care about the answer. I wouldn't answer
that's
the question.
bullshit. Because guess what? My friends that are Native American, when I ask them what tribe they may not identify with them and put it in their chest, but they know exactly what their heritage.
They're not real Native American.
All of them are. The Sioux, the Cherokee. Hell out of here.
Yes, those are made up names.
For the Native Americans to come back and take back their land, and then let's see how everybody likes it. And I would be completely fine with it. They deserve to take their land back. You guys fucking stole it from them.
Even if you go with the slave story, I'm still not an immigrant.
Okay, let's just say that you're a foundational.
I'm not an immigrant.
American.
The point is, I'm not an immigrant. In no way you want to parse history. I'm not an immigrant.
Okay.
In no way.
Well, then you stole land from the Native Americans.
I ain't stole shit from anybody.
Yeah, you did.
No,
I didn't.
It was Europeans who stole land, not Africans.
Point is, I'm not an immigrant. You guys are immigrants.
You were born of the Anunnaki blood?
Yeah, I'm Anunnaki, exactly. Yeah.
Anunnaki, the people from Nibiru, the planet Nibiru, who came down to Earth.
Just like
Also helped create humans.
colonialism was the way that Mexico became Catholic.
I mean, the stuff they did in Portland and all that they destroyed buildings.
Can I ask y'all a question though? Why, like, when I say I'm not an
They
immigrant.
put marks on the outside of them.
Why do it bother you guys so much when the fact is, no matter how history looks, I'm not though. Why? What is wrong with just acknowledging the truth? Okay, he's not an immigrant. Why do you get so triggered? I'm confused.
So that just means you're a slave.
That don't mean I'm not. That don't mean that. How do that
Your
mean I'm
family
a slave?
was slave.
I mean, we can only narrow it down by all the things you're saying. I mean, you stole the Native American land, or you were a slave in this country.
What are you talking about, Ann? You need some critical race theory in your life.
Or you may have came over through
You need some CIT in your life.
Or you may have came over through Europe originally. Like all the early Americans.
Yeah, you're probably from the Caucasus Mountains, I guarantee it.
All you guys are Africans anyway.
Yeah, that is true. we are all Africans.
I mean, I'm whatever.
No, we're all Nibiru, Anunnaki.
No, Africans. Don't run away from Africans.
Yeah.
We are all God's children.
No,
How about that? Thank you.
No, we're not God's
Well, God's
Yeah,
children was Toth and Enel and Enki.
We are God's
The
children.
sons of
You just don't
Enel,
happen to believe in
Enki,
God.
and
That's okay.
There is no God, though.
Nibishu,
Like I said,
the mother
it's
of
okay
God's
for you to
children
say
on
that, but
earth.
the rest of us believe what Ann said.
Okay, and I can believe that we were created in the image of the invisible pink unicorn. Doesn't make sense.
And Marshall, you're such a flip-flop artist. One time you're a Democrat, the next time you're a Republican.
Who?
You did not want
He
Trump.
got a right to change
Dude,
his mind.
I'm
What are
not
you
a
talking about?
Democrat. I work in the Republican Party, and I work on Republican campaigns. I don't do shit for the Democratic Party.
Wait, Marshall B. No, just be honest. You did vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah, I did. No, absolutely.
Okay.
And
So that's fair. So maybe that's where
I deserve that.
And Hakima is right that just because you vote one way for a certain election doesn't necessarily mean that you are.
Because Trump was a Democrat. I mean, how about that? I mean, but he got a right to change his mind. So you want to criticize Marshall for voting Democrat?
Yeah,
Well, no,
you realize the Democrats.
But
You realize
that
the
actually
Democrats.
is not honest. Trump.
You realize the Democrats put you guys through hell and created Planned Parenthood
Well,
to
they
kill you.
created the
And
KKK.
they created the KKK.
White people created the
created
KKK.
low-income health. No.
White people created
No,
the KKK.
Democrats did that.
White people created the KKK.
The only reason why
White Democrats.
Along with Nathan Bedford Forrest, the originating
Democrats did.
And now the KKK only endorses Republicans.
No, so
There was no party affiliation for the KKK.
Hakima.
Yes, there was.
There was no party affiliation.
Hakima, I
Yeah,
want you to
cool.
look
See,
this up.
now the KKK only endorses
You guys
Republicans.
relax. You guys, it doesn't have to always be this like hostile like conversation. Like I don't know why everyone always has to like get in their pants in a bunch. But Hakima, no, who inserted and who introduced this great concept that we still use today? Race, like what?
Democrats.
White people.
No, I didn't ask you.
White people.
Democrats.
So
White
people just
Democrats.
No, was it the government?
White Democrats.
Hold on.
See, it's not just Democrats.
Hello.
Yeah, racism stretches
Hello.
across the country.
Was it the government that did this?
I just answered. It was white people. I just told you.
Okay, was it the government?
It was white people.
Which were part of the government. Dumbass.
So,
Cool, she calls my dumbass is fabulous.
So,
Good job, Cool.
Hakima, do you know how ridiculous it seems? So,
Hakima, the best part of you dribbled down your mother's leg.
Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Leave him alone.
no, he should have been a stain on the mattress.
I like Hakima
I'm just
quite
kidding.
a lot. I consider him a friend.
I know it's fine. I just think that like things he's so lighthearted.
The fact that you guys want to go to insults shows how pathetic and weak-minded you guys are. Now, don't look at me when you
I
saying
agree. It's
serious
almost
shit.
like turning the every single
I'm-
art discussion into race. It's like it's just the same way. It's an immature way to have any forwarding conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Hakima doesn't become rude. You guys are becoming rude.
I've said nothing rude, Hope.
Well, I mean, rude
Not you, Corey, but Anne. I mean, uncalled for. Really uncalled for.
Well, rude is subjective.
Maybe you should have been a cum stain.
I said, honestly, Hope, to be honest with you, I said that my dad just recently passed, and he used to always say, you should have had a stain on the mattress. He used to say that to me. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. So, yeah.
And I think we should all be adults enough to know that it's not a legitimate
to make me feel better.
And it's all part of free speech.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to give some context. I just think that we just...
Roger. He said he was going to report me to the feds because I told that the Brian Thompson piece of shit. So, yeah.
Well, Necro.
Hey, the fact is, y'all incapable of having a conversation.
Necro, do you feel follow
two of y'all went straight to insults when nobody said nothing insulting to y'all. Y'all from weak-minded, racist individuals.
Yeah.
I just want to say, so I just want to explain, as long as we hit on this, the level of maturity and the amount of racism on this app. There was a great conversation on flat Earth versus sphere. Okay, I listened in. I listened for quite a while. Finally, I just asked a couple questions, had a great dialogue with the guy modding the room. We had a back and forth. It was very well. I'm not here to sit. I wasn't there to try and bash flat earthers. I gave them credit where I knew they had some very good questions that you don't see the answer. But then when it posed the opposite way, where they couldn't deter they tried to say that you can't use math, but then he tried to use math to invalidate spherical Earth. It was kind of a comedy, right? But it was a good conversation. We weren't arguing. It was a really good conversation. And all of a sudden, somebody else said something about me being white. And the mod said, wait a minute, you're white? And I was like, yeah. Booted me out of the room, off the stage and out of the room, because I was white. We had a good conversation. He actually friend requested me because of our conversation. And then that happened. And if we want to talk about where the racism lies in this country, we have to look and say, stop the bullshit.
Exactly. It's such bullshit. And we know it to not do race has not done anything positive. And we know this by what's gone on in our nation's history because of inserting race in this wonderful social construct. Why anybody still uses this is just mind-blowing, knowing how much harm it has done to people in our past.
Yeah,
mind.
Because it's not at all clear that the United States, that racism has been a significant reason, component of how people have been treated in the United States. That's not historical.
I think that might have went over my head. What?
Yeah, you're saying we need to move past race. I mean, are you suggesting that, racism, that race has not been a component of how people have been treated in the past?
Did you not hear what I said?
States? You said we need to move past race. Is that not what you said?
I think we're there, and we're just let's go back to Trump, and let's just talk about, okay, the name of the room is America's Back. Are you ready? So what do you think's really going to happen? I mean, I don't think you're going to see. I literally was on a room in here where people were saying they were going to sell their stuff and move out of the country after the election, and all of these things. And I was just like, you really think that? And then he's a sexist. He's all these things. And look at the people he's appointing. Women, minorities. That's amazing. And you know why? Because he genuinely doesn't care what he wants. These people who can help clean things up. And I think that's going to be his number one goal, because the legacy that the man can leave for himself at this point, the one way to fix everything, all the wrongs, everything he's done, if you can clean, literally, nothing more than just clean up the corruption, clean up the spending. If you can cut spending, and you know that we can drastically, it will change a lot of things, because guess what? We will have far more than enough money to help with a lot of different social programs. Now, I don't ever believe that education should be free, because we watch how it happens. Every time that the government gives more to education, education gets more and more and more expensive. We now have professors writing books. My son had 4 books in one class. 3 of them were over $200. 2 were over $300. Okay? They opened one. They never used the others. He went to sell them back at the semester. Nah, they were outdated. Guess who wrote the books? The professor. So they were new, had to have the new one, the newest book, because the last year's weren't usable. Can't buy a used book. That's the stuff that's happening to our children, to anybody going back to school. It's not just children going to school, but I mean anybody going to school. You give them free education, but the books aren't going to be free.
That happened to me in college. I remember doing the same exact stuff.
They hid for years. Going back about 15 years, I studied this, and there was like 70% of the people were not employed in the field of education that they were educated in. That changed for a long time, but all of a sudden, just recently, those numbers are back about to that. They're underemployed or not in the field of study. And they're literally, you've got systems in place that are putting people in debt that they can't get out of in fields of study. There are so many other ways we could impact the education system in a positive manner, lowering the number of students per person in the class, per educator in the classroom.
Let me tell you, you know how there's a shortage of teachers. There's a shortage of doctors and nurses and things like that. But so my daughter, she's in 5th grade, and just now, this last week, she finally got her full-time teacher. She's had a substitute teacher in and out, like 6 different substitutes up until this point. And if they're a substitute teacher, there's a reason why they're not full-time, and that's because they haven't gone through all of the courses that they need to go through to get their teacher certificate. So like they're not even fully qualified, and my daughter she is like a whiz at math. Like all of her teachers up until this point have said she's going to be in AP math. I don't know where she gets it from, but she is like struggling so much in school. And like all of the kids that I called after all this time, I called the principal and I got the secretary, and I said, I don't want to like be a nuisance to Miss Fonte. I said, but you know, you're not the first, second, or third parent to have called for the 5th grade. And it's just really sad that there's a shortage of teachers since the pandemic, and I think that we all know why. And that's sad, because our kids have to suffer for.
Yeah, I mean, the issue I have is that, if Republicans think Republicans care about improving the education system, I mean, how do you explain the fact that Massachusetts voted unanimously in every county is blue and is the one that has first in education? Meanwhile, Oklahoma, which, voted unanimously red, is 44th in education.
I can definitely say that the right has been very lukewarm, and when the whole Roe versus Wade thing happened, and they were trying, they couldn't even sell pro-life. Like there was no like selling point, like of what would be like, and it just was so lukewarm. They would talk the talk of like how strong they felt about it and how abortion was so wrong, but they didn't like say any, up until now where I hear J.D. Vance actually say that he would like to give the incentive for women to have babies is like they would get a certain amount of money just to like have babies, not just like the tax credit that we get when we file our taxes. Now that's like an incentive. That's something that people can, because a lot of people are saying, well, I can't financially, support a child, and that's the reason why. And so, but I agree with you, Necro. The Republicans have been very lukewarm as well, and they say things and they don't follow through. But I don't see them doing anything evil.
Well, a couple things. One thing you got to look at is, I would love to know the median income of that one state versus the other. When we look at red and blue, when we're talking Connecticut or anywhere, like, come on. Let's talk about who's there. And if we can go on and on about that. If you want to look at disparity, it is literally on income levels. You can look at the income. Now, it doesn't mean 100% across the board, but when you take it large numbers, those that come from affluent neighborhoods typically have better schools. Their students do better than those of lower income. It's just a fact. Now, there's some, Ben Carson came from a mom that was working till midnight, didn't get to see her kids, working 2 jobs. And look where he ended up. So it's not the rule. But damn it, it's very consistent. So we can look at it and say, well, they're not, and one thing is the Republicans don't do, is they don't just, I'm towing the party line like the Democrats. We're going to vote for it. Some people may not agree with it, but we're going to vote for it and get it through. They don't do that. And I wish all politicians were more like that. And let's do it on a single bill initiative. Mia Love did this. Mia Love pushed this and pushed this and pushed this until, guess what? She was out of office. And I blame the Republicans for that because she was damn good at what she did.
Well, you can blame a very specific Republican. It was Rand Paul. In the Senate, one of the ways that bills are introduced from committee to the floor is a bill read. Or they'll put something in for you. First put something in for unanimous consent to the parliamentarian. If unanimous consent is not given, which that's how the Senate passes things most of the time, unanimous consent. If there for some reason is an objection, which the vast majority of bills that have come through the United States Senate, Rand Paul has had an objection to, whether it's government list making or other issues that we would agree with, one should do. So Rand Paul gets a hold of the Senate parliamentarian, puts what's known as a hold on the bill. That means that there has to be a floor read. So they're going to get to the floor, they're going to read their bill, ask for unanimous consent, and if it is not given, then there are two options. One is to ask for a discharge petition, if I'm recalling correctly, and the other is to start the filibuster. Was to start the filibuster anyway, and so if it's not taken, basically it goes through the floor read. If they can't agree on unanimous consent, the bill will not be brought to the floor. And that means that the bills are never going to get a vote in the U.S. Senate. And most of the reason that happens is because Rand Paul puts a filibuster hold on them, which means most of the shit the United States Senate passes has to be in the form of big omnibus spending bills, because it's a hard time to vote for everyone. There's also in the House something known as regular order, which both Democrats and Republicans have used to vote on things one by one, but we're not really using it today. So, sorry to interrupt, I just felt like that was pertinent to your point.
Point is that's the very problem. That's the problem with politics in general. Trey Gowdy nailed it. When he was asked why he left politics, when he was so damn good at what he did, he said, finally he answered it. Because you have to have two things. You got to like it, and you got to be good at it. The person on the phone with him was damn good in the political world, well known, but well respected on both sides, and they laughed, and they're like, well, we know it wasn't because you weren't good at it. He goes, no, I'm not. I wasn't. I wouldn't vote for things just so I could later get something for my state. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't vote for it. And so I didn't get certain things done for South Carolina because I refused to vote for something I didn't agree with. So I'm not good at politics, and I don't like it. And that's the point. You have good people who see what's going on, and now you have to vote for something that you completely disagree with. You know it's stupid spending in there, but you vote for it because I'm hoping to get this back from my state. That's what needs to stop. Each bill needs to be held on its own merit. There's plenty of time in the day. They don't have to make them as long and as arduous as they do. They do it on purpose. Guess what? You got to stay and get this done. You wanted to be an elected official. Start holding their feet to the fire and make it happen. They don't want it because all of them, they'll look at it. How many here don't really believe that these politicians are doing it for power and prestige? They get their foothold in on everything. That's why you see them making the money they're making. That's why you're seeing them investing in the things they invest in, because they've got a stronghold when they're in power and they can get things done. So until they take those powers and say you're going to be held accountable for that single bill. Did you vote for a $5 million elevator when we got a quote that said the elevator was $382,000? You did. We're holding you accountable. Why? You know, I mean, this is the type of stuff. What was it? The bathroom that was going to be like how many ever millions of dollars they were going to do somewhere in California? A construction company volunteered, actually did it, donated everything. And guess what? You know what it still cost the state of California? $1.2 million. Everything was donated. But the bureaucracy that they have cost the state $1.2 billion still. That's the kind of stuff that we need to have people being held their feet to the fire. We can't have that put into these large bills because this is how we're getting into the hole we're getting in. Go look at the number of years it took to get to $1 trillion in debt. Then look at what it took to get to 5, and then to 10, to 20, to 30. It's getting faster and faster and faster because of bills like this. And as long as we at all try to defend it for them, we're aiding them. We have to say, no, enough with with this. Start doing your job. Start showing up, being there, accountable. And guess what? Guarantee you'll see things written a whole lot clearer, a whole lot simpler, so they can get through them a whole lot faster. The fair tax bill, 33 pages, the entire the whole law, 33 pages. That's it, not 33,000. This is the way it needs to be done. It needs to be crisp, clean, clear.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Thinking back to the title, it's like, yeah, I am ready because, I mean, to me right now, I wasn't too happy depending upon who was going to win. So yeah, I'd say I'm prepared. So I'm not really disappointed. I mean, it's, you know, what America has been voting for in virtually every election. So, I mean, that's why I say to me, it's like, you know, people could call me a conservative because I have given up on the government. So.
Well, that's not what being a conservative is, but.
So I mean, but isn't it like a part of conservatism, distrust of the government, though? Like, that the government is inefficient at doing?
No. We want to conserve the Constitution. That's part of being conservative. So, and the Constitution was based to protect the United States citizens from a tyrannical government. I mean, our forefathers made that. So, I mean, if that's what you're referring to, but there's a lot of things that go with being a conservative. And so, Necro, you're definitely not a conservative by your ideologies.
I mean, but it's interesting though. At the founding of the Constitution, I mean,
do you like that document? Do you like the Constitution?
Oh yeah, I do. I mean, but it's like, and it's interesting though. It's like, I mean, at the time though, the conservatives were the people defending monarchy though. Back when the Constitution was written.
Necro, one of the key beliefs about conservatism and republicanism is that not only do we distrust the federal government, but we believe the very best way for people to solve their problems is to solve them locally at the base unit of political power, which one can actually control. We believe in affecting the government that's closest to us, which is municipal, county, and state government over federal government. That's one of the reasons Republicans usually tend to have good candidates that run in states who fit their districts, right? If you fit your district really well, you could be a Republican or a Democrat and you work out quite well. But I thought I'd tell you that so you knew. The belief that one should civically engage in their local government is a key Republican and conservative belief.
I think it's interesting though. I took a few political compasses quizzes. I took one thing called 9 Axes, where you answer like 200 something questions. I understand that not all quizzes are perfect assessments, but they also labeled me with also being ideologically socially liberal. They also put me on as being a person who is in more favor of unitary government as opposed to federalism.
Say that last part again, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so they had a rating of like whether I was in more favor of the unitary government as opposed to a federalist system. Which is kind of what Jefferson was. So.
Okay, I understand.
I mean, the thing is that, I wouldn't consider myself anti-capitalist. I would consider myself anti-corporatist, as was Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson has a nice legacy. One of them is the Tree of Liberty should be watered with blood from time to time, or something along those lines. He was much more in the belief of, say, the French Revolution at the time. He agreed with quite a lot of the causes.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way that, it's kind of the way I would have felt as well, I think.
What's up, Marshall and
Dr.
Adams? Good.
I have a question about this title. Are you guys saying that America is back because a racist, misogynist, disgusting person is becoming president of the United States, and is that what you're saying? That the second coming of Hitler makes America back.
A garbage person.
Yeah, garbage person.
Garbage.
Disgusting people who nominated a VP who has an Indian as his wife. This anti-American person. Like, are you saying that that makes America back? Like, what's up?
And you have to drink bleach.
You just said that he had an Indian wife, and you're against that. And you said that he's the second coming of Hitler. But you know what? If you believe in the other side, I want to explain something, because even people on the left were saying, this is wrong. Listen to what Manchin has said. They forwent. They completely forwent the vote. They just skipped the voters. The voters have no right. They don't care. Guess what they said? We're actually a corporation. We can actually appoint who we want. See, now that's kind of the threat to democracy. That's the second coming of Hitler.
This is a man.
Ignore that.
Hold on. This is a man.
No. This is a man that you have these bullshit.
Hold on, Corey. Okay, my beef is not with you. My beef is with Adams, Marshall, and Ann, that they would support a man who had an erection on the Capitol, okay, and went after Nancy Pelosi and all these kinds of people.
No, hold on. Did you just? I want to make sure you're being at least factually accurate. Did you just say an insurrection?
On the United States Capitol, he had an erection.
He had an erection. Well, that's because he was touching a woman's pussy.
Yeah, because that's what he does. He's gone the other way. So I get that.
So this guy, these are the people that they're supporting, and this is just propaganda. I mean, this room is clearly propaganda, because how can you want America to move forward with this kind of disgust? You could have had a woman in office who has won every election she's been in, right? Was able to create. Well, she lost this one, but she was able to create
$1 billion.
She was able to create.
Why you gonna let him finish though, Corey? Like, why you get so triggered? Like let him finish.
No. I just want to get fact, because he's gonna. I just want to go point for point.
But let him finish though. He didn't stop.
He's gonna have 20 points. We're gonna hit each one. I'll let him go.
He just got here. You guys don't talk 30 minutes. Let him talk. Go ahead.
And I let anybody jump in just like I let you jump in.
You don't have to let nobody though. You're not a mind. You talk about you let somebody jump in. That's the arrogance though. Go ahead to me.
Arrogance. You're arrogant.
Okay, whatever.
He ran against a woman who won every election she's been in, right? Has a cackle that everyone loves, like has an infectious personality, may have infections, we don't know, but the point is she's an infectious personality, and he ran against such a person, and that person, you could have chose that person to be your president, but instead you went with a misogynist, disgusting Hitler, mini Hitler type person who wants to destroy our country piece by piece by getting rid of people who break the law in this country, and that is just disgusting, and it's something that I just can't stand by.
Oh, now you better for the.
Well, it's because she comes from a middle class household, and like majority of Americans aren't middle class, so like they didn't subscribe to that, and then they didn't understand why she would wash like food in her bathtub, and so that made people question. And then, but what was kind of cool is that like depending on what state she was in, she could like pretend to be those people. So it's like we were getting like it was like one president, but like actually like 50 different kind of presidents in one. So maybe we should have rethought that. I don't know.
Yeah, but as a middle class person, she understood that these people who break the law and come into our country are needed, right? Because that's just the American way, and so she was going to restore that to our country, and and all you idiots who are running this room are against that. Like, it's just disgusting. You should explain it.
Hey, Naveen don't mean none of this shit. He's a Trump supporter. I forgot all about that. He's like making a weird fucking counter argument, pretending to be a Kamala supporter. He's not.
I think he supports Kamala. I really do.
No, he's definitely though.
Total Trump supporter. He's just being
change their mind. Kima, you said earlier that people can change their minds. He changed his mind.
No, he didn't though. People,
yeah, he did.
You could have had the first Indian. You could have had the first Indian American woman to be president, and the first black woman to be president, and he chose this guy who wants to, get rid of black people, who wants to round up people, who wants to stop immigrants coming in and stealing jobs from Americans, like, especially from countries like India. Like, why would you do that? I just don't understand.
You're doing a good job staying in character with me.
I'm asking an honest question. Like, why would you support some, like, look, she
not honest. You didn't vote for her. You voted for Trump, so it's not an honest question.
But that was before the question. That was before the H-1B whole debacle came up, because I have realized throughout the time that I need to stand by my people, and my people do not come from this great land. So I wanted to have Joe Biden and Kamala win, but the problem is that if I continue to support them, then I can't get any move forward. So I've given my money to Donald J. Trump to try to get favor from him. I tried to give money to Joe Biden, but he didn't know who I was or who I was talking to and couldn't understand. So Kamala would have been the best thing. She's from Chennai, India. She would have been great. And that's the other thing. If she need a black, like, she uniquely can represent two major constituencies in America: Indians and blacks. One woman, two constituencies, and women. Sorry, three.
You did such a great job that you had Corey attacking you and me defending you. You did a good job.
I want to, because it's just...
We can't hear you, Ann.
Has the Trump rug pull begun yet?
Wait, Ann, are you listening to the Fourth Reich rally right now?
No.
Okay.
I just have to play this clip. I pinned it to the top. I have to. This guy does the best Kamala Harris impression. And if you watch the video, it's...
It's funny that Trump is pump and dumping.
Yeah, so Anne, come back with better audio like that.
Yeah, what's up with this?
I had it on music mode, is that why?
Yeah, so...
Wait, no!
So I have a lot of concerns. I have a lot of concerns with you mocking an Indian American black woman, okay? And playing someone who's mocking this person, and I'm disgusted by you.
That's fine. Let's see if this is better.
Marshall and Adams, how can you stand by and allow this woman to disgrace two main constituencies of America? You people disgust me.
He won the election. There's nothing to oppose.
No, you know what, Marshall? This is part of more of your racism and shit like that you do, okay? It's disgusting, man.
There's no way that Marshall can be racist. He's a minority. He's a ginger, and gingers are going extinct.
You know what? This is ridiculous. First of all, you people don't even agree that there's four genders. Like, I mean, that's just the most disgusting thing. There's any gender that anyone wants at any time they can be, okay? And you need to stop with this shit where you're talking about two genders, all right? This is just disgusting. Haven't you heard? By the way, X is a gender. All right, X is a gender. I know. Look at the applications. They say male, female, and X. So get on fucking X if you want, or get off X. Why are you all on X if you don't believe it's a gender? Okay, get off it. All right.
Absolutely right.
It's disgusting.
And you want to know what? How dare us actually want to like not kill babies? You know what I mean? We should want to we should have more abortions. We should be about this abortion life.
You know what? You know what? It's disgusting. You talk about all this shit. You wanna have, but then you don't want to give any support to the baby mamas and the baby daddies, like the people who are having sex on the side of the street and stuff like that, and having kids and all that shit. That can't afford to have their kids. You don't want to support them. You don't want to take care of them. You want them to just pop out their baby and let some white man take care of them, or white family raise the black kid. Like, this is disgusting. What you're doing is just absolutely disgusting, and I am appalled and disgusted.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Marshall, Adams, I am just as... Look, Adams is even pooping after hearing all this shit because he's so disgusted, all right? I don't understand.
Oh my gosh, look at... Moose said you're disgusting.
No, I'm pooping because I ate Chipotle earlier.
See, and now he's insulting Latino people. This is disgusting. I mean, this is what they do.
No. I was just, insulting, people on TikTok that now have to work at Chipotle.
You guys just disgust me. I don't get it. I mean, you like worship this man, right? Who says he wants to make America great, but yet all this guy does is constantly do things that are, against what the fabric of America is. Think about it. America's always been a land of immigrants, right? And the fact that this guy wants to get rid of immigrants is just antithetical to what America was built on. The fact that he wants American workers to get the jobs and not allow a guy who comes into this country illegally to get a job is just disgusting. I mean, why would you want that? And I hope you guys can answer, answer this shit. And I wish Moose had some balls to come up here and talk, but he doesn't. So that's what, kind of tells you the type of people that are here, because, why would you want someone, why would you not want immigrants?
How you doing today?
Hey, what's up?
Happy New Year, man. How are you, buddy? How are you?
Hey, good. Did I touch a nerve with some of your point of views?
No. You wanted me to come up. Here I am. What's up, bud?
Okay, yeah, you had an issue, so what's your concern?
That if you were funny, I'm all for it, man. I'm on the left, but if you can actually roast, if you know how to roast, all good. But you don't.
I just mentioned 7 point of views that.
I thought you asked me a question. You wanted me to
mentioned
answer.
7.
Please,
I mentioned 7. Of course, I mentioned 7 point of views, which you stand by. So, which one do you want to talk about?
Could I just jump in and say points of view, not point of views?
Shut up, Norm.
No, I just want
not too much on Norm. Not too much on Norm.
Okay, watch.
Not too much.
I'm not going after
Norm
him.
is my brother.
So here's the thing. Moose will say all this, but when you ask him to challenge any of the point of views I mentioned, for example, illegal thing in this country. Right. So tell me, give me the case for illegal immigration.
Not point of view.
Give me the case for illegal.
Thank you, Norm. You're correct. Please use correct grammar.
Give me the case for illegal immigration.
Proud immigrant, right, Naveen? You're not an immigrant, right? You're an American, right? So you better use proud, correct English and grammar.
So I'm waiting for you to answer. So give me the case for legal immigration and illegal immigration. Give me the case for both.
Wait, can we start by all of us saying our pronouns so we do this correctly, and also doing a land acknowledgement? I think.
Can you guys lower your voice? Like, my earphones are about to die, and the last thing that I need is you guys chirping like freaking monkeys in the middle of me shopping at Gucci. Like, hello.
Who just said to turn our mics down? Wait, hold on. Who just said to turn our mics down? Not Adams, who blows my eardrums out every single fucking day.
That was an ironic request, to be fair, Dr. Adams.
My pronouns are that douchebag.
Really? How about douche canoe? What about douche canoe?
Well, that's a good one. Thank you for your pronoun. Douche canoe.
Douche canoe.
Anyway, Naveen, so where were we? So illegal immigrants, against it. I'm all for legal immigrants. Next point.
No. So your party supports illegal immigration. So you're now saying you're against what your party stands for? Cool. So you're on the Trump train on that. Cool. All right. Make the case for legal immigration.
I thought we were talking individually, not parties. I'm not with any party.
You said I'm on the left. You proudly said so. The left believes in illegal immigration.
Cool. And And if you agree with every single thing that the right believes, then I feel sorry for you.
I'm not on the right. I've never said I'm on the right.
Identity. You have
I've
no
never said
identity.
I'm-
I have my own identity. Thank you.
I've never said I'm on the
It's
right.
called a left moderate.
Yes, I never said I'm on the right.
Oh no? Where are you then?
Donald Trump's on the right. Do you believe he's on the right?
Where are you then, Naveen?
Do you believe Donald Trump? Let's see how smart you are. Is Donald Trump on the right?
I'm answering your questions. Do you not have the backbone to answer your own questions you're asking me? Where are you? What side?
I've asked it several times, so I'm on the Trump side.
Okay, so the last time I checked, Trump is on the right. Like, are you okay?
No, he's not.
You mean in the right?
Okay, so you guys are just gonna chirp in like little fucking high school bully hecklers? Is that what we're doing here today? Or are we gonna have an actual normal conversation?
Okay.
Abram, can you stop mumbling?
So let's have an actual conversation. So Moose, make the case for legal immigration. Okay.
Sure. I mean, it's what the country's built on. Legal immigration? I don't get it. What's the question? You saying we shouldn't have legal immigrants?
No, I'm asking you, make the case for legal immigration. Why do you think legal immigration is needed? In what areas and why?
Because it's what this country's built on. Like, legal immigration, how many generations down has...
we should legally allow any person that wants to come to America, we should legally allow them in.
Well, we're all Mike.
That's right. On my real estate.
Well, see, this tells you that he doesn't...
Sorry, am I
tells you
getting
that he's not
six
genuine.
people, or am I talking to just one? What are we doing here?
No.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Can we get one mic at a time, please?
Yeah, what's up, Jay?
Thank you, Jay.
Dr. Adams, how you doing?
Good.
Turn your mic down.
I'm standing in a line to get into Gucci. So, I mean, life must be great. But what I will say is that, I'm hearing a lot of chattering and banter, just back and forth. And I want to come to a constructive conversation.
I'm done with
We
you.
have
I'm
less
done with
than...
I am
Hello? Like, are y'all okay?
No,
Like, this is crazy.
At night you come on here.
And why is Jazzy not modded? Why is Jazzy not modded?
I don't have
Like,
to
hello?
mod it. I can help you without a mod. So Naveen and Moose are arguing. They are on the topic of illegal immigration. The question on the table for both of them right now, they should get 2 minutes each, is should America allow illegal immigrants into our country?
I thought the question was legal immigrants. You want to clarify, Naveen? I already said I'm against illegal immigrants.
The question. So
okay, cool. What's the question?
The question is, do you think illegal immigrants, and when I say illegal, I mean maybe they have outstayed a visa, they crossed the border illegally. There are many illegal immigrants. So, do you think that they should have a second chance at being here?
No.
Agreed. I mean, like, if you've outstayed your visa, just like if we go to other countries, Europe, wherever, you outstay your visa, you need to extend or leave. Next question.
Well, Naveen didn't answer.
I'm open to it.
Naveen, can you find your mute button?
What was the question? He's conservative, so however...
Well, it has nothing to do with being conservative. Conservatives have different thoughts on different things, and so you have to ask people. But I think the next question should be asked by someone else. I'm glad we got some decorum. Amen.
So I think the next thing was that Naveen had said was, the diversity, equity, inclusion, that Kamala was both Black and Indian, and that because of that, she could reach out to more people, and she could relate, and that she was a middle class citizen too. She came from a middle class household. Do you disagree with those statements?
Well, you guys contemplate that. What's up? Well, you guys not?
So Naveen, so Jay, just to let you know, so Naveen was doing a Kamala impression, like as if she was running, and what the things she said during her campaign trail, and Moose was coming up, because I guess he wrote something in the chat that was a negative connotation.
Yeah, so I was just talking to Moose. I mean, because Moose actually, just said something which I thought was interesting. He said, yeah, we should allow illegal immigration. But I said, basically I'm asking what terms or where should we allow it? And he just said, we should allow it. And so I think it's important to understand that anyone who wants to get into the country should not be allowed to get into the country. There should be parameters and reasons for why the person should get in. There should be a justification for why the person should get in. There should be extreme vetting of the person before they come in, not just we're a land of immigrants. And so, which is what you said, land of immigrants, and anyone should be allowed to come in.
Cool. So then what, if you had the power to come up with a list of said reasons, what would your top 5 reasons be that'd be like, okay, you're in, sorry, you're not? What are your reasons that would validate someone wanting to legally immigrate to this country?
Well, no. So immigrate meaning move here, or so like for example, visitors
move here.
Visitors visa
in the United States. What would your reasons be that would make
reside
it
in the United States for someone to actually come in? For me, there's only one reason, and that is the United States has exhausted all possibilities, and companies have exhausted all their possibilities for certain talent that is there. So, for example, sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
So like I work on contracts with the United States Navy. I have one contract up in Groton, Connecticut, where they're building submarines. There's a new AI technology that's being put in. Okay, the United States Navy is not able to train anyone on this technology. Okay, honestly, they're not, and it's not because it's just that there's not enough interest for United States citizens and others. So they put up a job ad. They weren't able to find it. So they ended up hiring someone. This guy's actually from Turkey. They immigrated him to the United States. They kept him in the United States for 6 months under watch, essentially, United States Navy watch. And they didn't give me the details on how that works, but basically, like, they gave him a house, they did all that stuff, they kind of watched everything he did, and then he essentially got a green card, and then they gave him citizenship and fast-tracked it, and then now he's in the process of getting a security clearance, but right now, he's working through all of this stuff to help the United States Navy move forward. Now, he had to pledge his allegiance to the United States. They had to work with the government of Turkey to find out the background of the person, all their criminal history. Because, see, when you apply, and I've done a lot of these applications for friends of mine for citizenship, when you apply, they ask you to declare any crimes you may have done in your country. They ask you to do that. And in many times, depending on the country you come from, like, for example, someone coming from India, in the country of India doesn't have a centralized they kind of do, but not really for every single resident. Like, for example, there's poor people in villages, right? The central government of India doesn't really know who those people are. So what happens? That person could have committed a crime. Maybe he got a job, he moved up, and hey, some IT guy's trying to move him over here, or whatever he's coming in.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you up, but you're kind of going off on a tangent here.
I was gonna say, can we get reasonings, like, for example, school?
So I give you an example. He's saying Moose gave an example. So just to be clear, Moose gave an example. His question was to live here permanently. I gave one example. That is for United States when there's a strategic need in AI. For people coming in on school visas. Sorry, go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, but I think he's just asking for a general, so that would be work.
Not general.
Thank you, Jasmine. Yes,
even that's almost.
But Jasmine, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for general work, no. But if there's a strategic
That's not. I get what you're saying, but I mean, it's taking a long time to get to the point. Which people, we have short attention spans. That's all.
So what I'm saying is, again, not everyone needs to come here for work. I'm saying if there's a strategic. Oh, geez. Moose, your question, I just want to be clear on your question. Your question was, what was the reason? Well, I was talking, then you tried cutting me off. So I said...
you were going on a 10-minute monologue, man.
So I said, again, I'm rephrasing. I'm asking you... Moose, let me re-ask your question and make sure I have it understood, okay? You're saying, what is the justification for someone to move to America and live here forever? Correct?
Correct.
No.
The example you gave me, was, well, it's cool if they're here to help the Navy, even though in a population of over 300 million, the United States can't find anybody.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Or MIT.
That's not what I said.
To train these people.
That's not what I said.
I'll give an answer. Exploit them for.
So hold on. Moose, you just gaslit what was said. So I said the United States
gave one example about Navy contracts.
No, I didn't.
One second.
Jesus, I talked about AI, specifically AI.
One second, both of you. So Naveen's first reason is AI work. Specialized AI work. All right? Is there any other reason?
Nope.
Okay.
No other
Specialized AI should be the only reason.
So if you're not in AI, stay out of our country.
Yes, Moose. I was going to say, Moose, do you understand what he just said? Do you have something to say?
I'm laughing, but now I understand. Thank you for the clarity, Dr. Jet.
So, Moose, let me ask you a question, please. And let me ask you a question. I want to ask you. I want to ask you if you have any reasons why you think people should be allowed to come in this country.
I will, as corny as it sounds.
Jazzy, to come to the country or move permanently to the country?
Is your name Moose, Naveen?
No, but hold on. We got to ask the right question.
Yes,
we got to ask the right question.
Naveen answered.
But hold on. Moose said to come here and live forever, not just to come and work for some time or go to school for some time, to live forever, to be granted a citizenship on a right.
He said reside, which you can be a temporary resident.
Yeah, reside. People move around all the time. Like, you don't have to
waste the damn time.
Nah. He said live here. So to live here forever. And I asked to live here forever. He justified said yes. So that means live here forever. So the point is. So
she's asking me a question.
So go ahead and answer.
My turn. This is how we converse.
That's not a visa.
You're talking to conservatives, man. They don't get.
Live here.
Go back to sleep, hey man. Go back to sleep. So. Yes, better life, whether it's for, there's war going on at their home, there's poverty, there's just limited, they're living under a dictatorship, all the check boxes that have historically brought immigrants to this country. Or they just want to work in a country where there is more freedom. They want to be able to try out a different career that's not available to them. So yes, if they go through the legal process, they should absolutely be able to reside here. Naturally, it's not forever. People are going to move here. So I don't know, like this fear of like billions of immigrants coming over. Like not everyone's going to get through. Not everyone will want to wait out the whole process, which apparently takes quite a while. If they come in, for it.
So, Moose, do you believe that anyone who, in your example that you gave, because I'm just trying to clarify because you said forever. So, do you believe that these people, anyone who comes in, if they want to work, they should be able to come here and be here forever and never have to leave? Is that what you believe?
If they come, I'm just going to come in here to live. If they come in here
forever.
legally. Yes, forever, and then when they die, Naveen, instead of going to heaven, they stay in the United States.
So you don't believe that you don't believe in the temporary visas that are there. Got it. So I hope everyone's understanding this. He doesn't believe, so H-1B says you should be here for a short period of time while the work is needed, and you should be required to go back. He believes in automatic green card for anyone who comes in. That's what he's saying.
No,
you can't be on a visa forever. So find a visa. Tell me a visa. See, this is where you're an idiot. Find me a visa.
Take a breath, man.
Find me a visa.
An audio app.
So Moose, find me a visa that allows you to stay here forever.
You're gonna have a fucking heart attack.
You don't know the answer? Find me a visa that allows you to stay here forever. I'll wait.
Naveen, slow down on the cocaine during Sunday.
I'll wait. See how you insult when you can't answer? I just called you out on what you said. You said stay here forever. There's no visa that allows you to stay here forever except for green card. There you go.
I'm saying if you're able to get a green card, cool. If you're
no, that's not what you said. That's not what you said. You said people should be able to.
Shut your hole. We're not in court. Let me answer. My God, you're gonna have a heart attack.
That's what you said.
Good Lord, dude. Do I look crazy that much? Can you not allow me to speak?
But you said reside forever. Anyone who wants to come
tell you what I'm speaking, dude. All right. If I misspoke, allow me to clarify. My God, we're not in court, you lunatic.
Dude, you keep insulting. I'm just clarifying what you said. You're insulting.
As I said earlier, is if they are here on a temporary visa, then
That's not what you
I
said.
said this earlier. If their visa expires, then they need to
That's not what you
renew or
said.
leave. Can I be any
That's
more
not what
clear?
you said.
I'm saying it now. I misspoke.
No, you said, and you said 4 times I asked you, and you said, and everyone
I misspoke. I'm owning
4
it.
times
I
you misspoke? Now that you're called out, you look like a fool, okay? 4 times I said, I will quote you.
You're right about everything, Naveen. You're right about everything.
I'm not. I actually agree with you. I actually agree with you. Your later point. I agree with your later point. But not the initial point, which you insulted me on for challenging you on the initial point. Then when I called you out saying you want an automatic green card, find me a visa that allows you to stay forever, then you're like, oh shit, he called me, and then you started changing your point of view. When I said, but 4 times you insulted me when I challenged you on what you said. I said, are you saying forever? People should be able to come in and immediately stay forever. You said, yes, that's how immigration works. Your exact words, insulting me. Oh, if you would listen to me, you'd understand that I'm saying, yes, they should come forever. I said, so tell me why you believe people should come in and stay here and reside forever. You said, they're leaving, a war-torn nation, or they're coming from this way, or they're coming from, that's what you said, reside here forever. So you believe all of those people who want a green card should be given a green card right away. And I said, and I'm saying people should come here. If there's a need for them to come here, they should be vetted. And then if they qualify, they should apply. And if they qualify, they should get a green card and then potentially get a citizenship. You unfortunately want everyone to come.
Naveen, I have a question. When most people come over here, what is the #1 type of visa obtained by those seeking residency in the United States? Like initially, what's the most common visa?
Usually it's F1. Usually it's F1, which is a student visa. Usually it's that people come in, or H2, which is like you get the Dunkin' Donuts workers and others who come in that. And just so people know, they don't come on H1B. That's stupid. If anyone thinks they come on H1B, they're idiots. Those people come on H2, construction workers, things like that. Basically, they're trying to get cheap labor, but they want them here legally. They want them here for a 2-3 year period. And it even says in your letter, like I can share letters on here once I get home. It says this does not guarantee that you'll be living here forever, which is what Moose seems to want them to do. It says you're here for a short period of time, and your visa is granted for this period of time. And just because you came here, it also says you have to reapply, and there has to be a just cause for you to stay in this country. And it says that. So, but he says if anyone leaves, a war-torn nation, they should be allowed to reside here forever.
Well, that's tough.
Abraham, you have something to say?
Yeah, I think that's silly. I'd much rather have the people that are coming over and going to our universities. I'd rather have them. Not totally opposed to people coming from war-torn countries, but
When you get people coming for university, what you're doing is diminishing the job market for Americans.
100%.
Because, so I get what you're saying. I would love that too. But I would love more of an exchange program where more of us are going to other countries, like, Dutch countries that give free schooling, free university schooling, except some Americans as well. There's not enough exchange in the education field for me with other countries.
And
like, we should be going over there.
And Jazzy, just to be clear, a lot of the countries that these people are coming from are not as easy. Like, to become an Indian citizen is extremely difficult if you're not Indian. Okay, extremely difficult. Okay.
For China.
Same, but yet we have to allow them. Like if you're running from a gang and you live in a part of New York or in a part of this country, right? If you're running from a gang in Colombia, but your government is free, but you're running from a gang and you go to the border and you say, I'm running from this gang, we let you in because, oh my God, your life is in danger. Well, if my life is in danger over here and I go to another country, they go, take it up with your embassy. Here's the embassy, and they'll.
Yeah, you know why? Naveen, and I talk about this all the time. I love my country, but the amount of shit that we do in other countries perpetuates this idea that we should allow other people in, because we go in, we take territory, we take land.
Yep.
We do a lot, so they feel like we owe them. Yeah, they feel like we owe them at this point. So that's why they're coming over. And another point is my cousin got deported from the Bahamas. Okay, she was working at Senior Frog with no paperwork. My aunt works for the DEA. She was stationed in Nassau. And she had custody of my cousin's kids, and they made her leave those kids right there and they shipped her ass right back to America. So I do agree. Like, why are we so lax with other people, and they don't give a damn about us?
Well, and also the abuse of the H-1B program. Like, with the Trump administration, the H-1B program was limited. There was this famous speech with Tom Cotton and Trump, which actually, and it'll be amazing to watch Moose debate this. If he disagrees with it, cool. But basically, Tom Cotton.
Naveen, you spittle when I'm trying to make a point. So it's,
and then you make points, and then you get caught on your. See, cutting me off. You're cutting me off again.
1 second.
So,
guys, you're all beautiful.
Exactly.
You're all humans.
Have another shot of Red Bull, Naveen.
Yeah.
Naveen,
That's
go
what
ahead
Mom said yesterday. So.
No, hello?
Sorry.
You insulted me 7 times.
Naveen, are you that much of a scumbag? You were insulted. You're going to insult my mother who's pet. Is that where you...
Moose. Hello? I'm trying to gain order.
Like, how did they... Wait, Moose, chill. Alright? So again, she's trying to control the room, she's a mod. Like, chill out, bro. Like, I'm sorry that, I lost my mom too, in 2022. I get it. People drag my mother on this app. The difference between your mother and mine is my mom was actually on this app. So I get it, but chill. Let the moderators do their job. That's all I'm saying, bro.
Genuinely sorry for your loss, Dr. Adams. I am.
Thank you. And you as well.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. She had a full life, 87. So, played tennis a month.
Yo, I lost my mom at 64.
Yeah, that's too young. Too young.
Right.
But my only point,
like I said,
I got out there for a second because Naveen was crying because I said he was on cocaine and he thought that was an insult.
No, you insulted me several times before. You insulted me several times before that. Why do you gaslight like this?
Crying.
I got it. 1 second.
See, look at that.
Excuse me.
You keep insulting me.
Yeah, sorry, Adam. Sorry.
No, it's good. Listen, Naveen is having a divisive conversation. Naveen, who I respect a lot, Naveen is an Ivy League graduate. Like, not too much on Naveen. So I understand that, tensions are hot. People are coming in hot. People, say things that, off the cheek. Listen, let's not derail this conversation. That's it.
And if I had known... can I say one thing? I just want to say, if I had known that Mrs. Mom had passed away, I wouldn't have said that, so I apologize.
We know you wouldn't. Really quick, Moose, telling someone they're on cocaine and they're not is an insult, by the way. I know it might not seem like it's not a compliment to someone. If you told me I was on cocaine, I'd be really mad. But that's not the point here. No more insults. If you talk about something outside of the topic, we're going to consider it an insult. So let's get back to immigration. Moose, to be fair, Naveen did ask you to name a visa that gives permanent residency besides the green card, and then you went on mute. So, do you have something you want to say now?
Again, I think I misspoke, and I'm owning that. I made a mistake. I wasn't saying that if they get here, if they come over on a work visa and it expires, or their stay, so essentially, if their visa expires, they're technically illegal. I get that. I was not. I thought I said that in the beginning, that once their visa expires, whether it be work or student or otherwise, they need to extend it or leave.
Do you think they should, let's say they missed the deadline, do you think they should then be deported or given a second chance?
I think there should be a grace period. I imagine there is. I don't know if it's like at midnight when it expires. I'm not a visa expert, but I would imagine there's some sort of grace period. But yes, I think they should absolutely be held accountable. It should not be staying here technically at that point undocumented.
Do they give you a grace period when your lights are about to be turned off?
But they do for the visa, just so you know, Jazzy.
No, but I'm asking, when your lights are about to be turned off, do you get a grace period?
Sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do. Depends on the electric company, I guess. I mean, usually you get several warnings before they turn your power off.
And Jazzy, I just want to say, if Moose had said what he's saying now, there would have been no issue. I mean, well, my contention with what he was saying initially was, and he didn't mention any of the disclaimers he mentioned if they overstay or anything. He was saying that they should be able to be here forever. No. I said, should they be here forever? And he said yes. And I said, okay, the only condition that I felt that someone should be here forever was that AI scenario I gave. I said, you give me a scenario when you feel someone has the right to come here and stay here forever. And he gave all those scenarios. And then I said, so you're saying that they should get a green card on arrival? Then he got caught that, oh man, okay, yeah, I don't know. So I'm just being clear. Like, that's why this, inflamed to the way it was. If it was just, hey, why do you think we need to have illegal immigrants here for a short period of time, or just in general, it would have been a little bit more of a kind of better conversation. But, I guess I think we can agree that there may be some need in certain industries and certain places at certain times for legal immigrants. But there's never a situation, I think, where an American worker should get passed up. And that's what's happening with at least in the IT sector, happening with Indian Americans coming here on F1 visa and coming here on H1 visa, is they're getting paid significantly less. I was talking about and I'll finish in a second. They were talking about, I was talking about Donald Trump and Tom Cotton in his first administration gave a speech that every single Democrat was against, where he said, he said all H1Bs moving forward should be paid an equal salary to what the Department of Labor says an American citizen would be getting in that area. So if you're getting but hold on. No. But what Tom Cotton said later, about that was that destroys the program. Because what happens? You have companies that are hiring these people only because they know, because they end up having to pay more now. Because let's say a person's getting $145,000 in a specific region. Let's say, I don't know, Long Island, New York, okay? And they're getting $145,000 is what an American would make. Usually the H-1B is making about $85,000. And then on top of that, the company's paying $5,000 or $6,000 in sponsorship fees to have their visa, to take responsibility for their visa. Well, guess what? Now you're saying you got to pay this guy $145. What does a company do? The company now has to justify saying, do I want to, on top of that, pay these extra fees, or do I want to hire an American, pay him the $145, give him the health care he needs, give him the time off and the flexibility, but with the Indian guy that you bring in, you pay him.
They never will, because most of the people that own these companies are not American in the first place. They have interests. Just like Kamala. Why do you think she sent so much work to India? She's Indian.
But,
right?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. But they have the prevailing wage, right? So they do say that it is, the standard. I understand how you could argue that it would push wages down in a certain sector, but you are supposed to pay.
Well, no. So first of all, it's not checked. Like, I can give you an example of 7 companies for the last 20 years that have hired people on F1 visa. They hire them on OPT. They get a 3-year or 2-year OPT period. In that period, they pay them $35,000 a year after they graduate. Okay, then they move them to H1. But what they do is they classify them as a lower position than what they're actually doing. Yeah, and that's how they get around it. That is a game they do.
Around it. So that means
they get around it.
But the way the H-1B is applied, or like designed, right? Like maybe it's just not enforced, or
it's not enforced because the federal government has no say. Like, for example, the person that I hired, I ended up hiring someone about 10 years back who was an F1 student because I needed to have an AI consultant, because AI was just being conceptualized 10 years ago. So I needed to have an AI person. And I hired someone, and she was really good. And I paid her what, the average wage was in the area, right? Not minimum wage, but a little bit above minimum wage. Yeah, well, I'm not going to comment on that, but I hired her, and she did a great job. She worked for me. She did a lot of fun stuff, and what happened is that I was actually paying her slightly less than what I would pay an American who had the same thing. But I was just paying her in line with it because I could have classified her as, hey, I'm totally legal right now with this, there's no issue, but I could have paid her what a senior manager, because that's what really the position was. But the federal government doesn't look at her resume and doesn't ask you, hey, can you justify why this person is? They don't interview the person. They don't look at the credentials. They don't check you, because there's a whole belief, hey, the federal government has no say in hiring, right? If I want to hire a PhD and have him be my admin and make $17 an hour, that's my choice, right? So that is the problem in this whole thing, and that's why people are taking advantage of it.
They're not going to pay the person $145,000 plus the sponsorship. So they're deducting all the fees, which is why you get the $80,000 and the other $60,000 is in the other fees. They're just equaling it out. Right, so that's the real issue. Why they won't pay them the whole $145,000.
No, but that's what Tom Cotton and Trump said, is that the total salary, like the payroll data, must show $145,000, that the person received $145,000. You can't, you can't just write a letter saying, hey, we paid all this stuff for the person.
Yeah, as an American and those people that are overlooked that go to school for these jobs. My friend went to NYU to be a chemical engineer, and the bitch works at an airline, okay, because they won't hire her. They're only hiring people from other countries.
If you have me on LinkedIn, send me her resume. I will get her a job guaranteed in chemical engineering.
Yeah, she lives in New York too.
Yeah, if you have me on LinkedIn, any American who's looking for a job, no matter what industry, I'm pushing a program called the Train America program. If you want to get into IT, you want to do anything, where I'm training U.S. and American citizens, no green card holders, house moms, whoever, to learn different skills.
I just want to thank you
Naveen is trafficking Indians into our government. Naveen, I'm totally kidding.
Naveen, genuine statement here. I do appreciate your apology regarding my late mom, and I'm glad we cleared up the visa miscommunication. But I do have to go. Wish you all well.
Take care, bro.
You too.
And Dr. Jasmine, and thank you for trying to keep the peace. Appreciate you. Adams as well.
Wish you health after 12 p.m. tomorrow. Most health. So yeah, I mean, anyone. So this is a real program I'm doing, Adams, and expect to hear this program in the next 6 months to a year from President Trump or allies of President Trump, because I've gotten pretty far in it. And so basically, it's a Train America program. It's where you're training American citizens, and you're training them on, unique skilled jobs. So that so you're incentivizing companies like Apple and Microsoft and these companies say, look, you're going to keep bringing in H-1Bs and others to do this. Just remember, the 44th president made a comment saying that Americans just aren't capable. That's why we need to bring people in, and that is the whole premise. When I wrote that, I got Trump team's attention saying, like, wait, the 44, and then they found the video where he said it. They were like, oh my God. And so then they called me saying, like, wow, we didn't realize that. And I said, yeah, that's the whole premise of the Democratic Party is Americans aren't capable, so we have to bring in all these people. No, you don't. And small business believes that too. By the way, there's the Mitt Romneys. A lot of people in the Republican Party believe that too. You need to bring in these people to do the work, because the whole point is, if I can keep my labor costs low, then I can keep the profitability high. That is the fundamentals.
We need to be trying to find someone who is against that type of thinking, because honestly, I don't see it changing when everyone is in this thing for profit.
Well, it will change.
Everybody is focused on the dollar that they can make over everybody else. So how do we find people that are not greedy enough to sell out whole groups of people for profit?
So Jazzy, I have the state of Wyoming, and hopefully now the United States government to actually lower the tax threshold to bring in these companies. Now, you're basically telling Google, look, I'm going to lower your taxes if you can prove this year for every H-1B you have, you hired an equivalent American here and provided them training and gave them the job at whatever the prevailing wage is for that particular position. And it's a cool program, and Wyoming State is doing it, and it's pretty good. Microsoft has opened it small.
Is it free?
Yeah, the training's free. Training has to be free. Training has to be for.
Just laid off a bunch of people.
Exactly.
Like so now they're training people.
Well, that's the whole thing. See, when you train, well, no, they are actually, but if you train people, so listen, because they get the tax incentive.
Right. See, I want people to do this out the kindness of their hearts because they want Americans to thrive. Okay, well then I don't want it. I'm not taking something where there's a bottom line. Americans need to be pushed to the forefront. They're using humans as robots for profit. I'm not with it.
Well, that might be going on, possibly. At least on the tech side.
And by the way, Abe, don't I haven't forgotten about you. It's just my friend didn't get back to me. So
no, I'm good.
You got a couple of things, right? See, but Ape is a great example. If you guys don't mind me giving you this example. See, Ape, what he did was he worked his butt off. I'm not going to give his name, your name out or any details. Worked his butt off, learned IT, right? Worked whatever he needed to do, and was able to push himself in there, and was able to defy the Osama statement, which is Americans just aren't capable, and prove to people he was. And look, you may have to, as an American, start off at a step lower to get into IT, but if you're willing to hustle and go in, you'll do it. Now that doesn't mean that we should keep the H-1Bs and force Americans. No, we should actually get rid of those people. It creates a vacuum that says, okay, we need to get Americans in there quickly because we have to fill that vacuum. And if you do that, you'll get more Americans in. I'm just talking about the IT sector. There's so many other sectors, but
yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, there's other countries that are way more lucrative and prosperous than America, like these Dutch countries that give citizens free university schooling, right? So someone in the chat is like, well, you got to pay for books. You got to pay for this. And that. No, they're doing it. They're doing it. And if we have our tax dollars, like the billions, and I know you guys are going to say, oh, I don't want to hear about Ukraine. No. Every month, there's a new bill with billions of U.S. aid going to other countries. And if that money was invested into this country, the outcome would be great.
It would make no difference.
Which is why we scream, yes, it would.
No,
which is why we scream, I'm almost done speaking. It's why we scream, make America great again, because I don't know about you guys, but my grandfather was born in 1924, and life was different. The country was better. We had American-made products. We didn't have all this, I miss Dr. Responsible, these Chinese-ass wall posters, right? We didn't need them.
Did he even have indoor plumbing?
He did. The country was thriving. So I don't know what we're talking about, but now that Norm's here, you all have a great day. It's been real. I had fun, but I don't do the low level.
Well, you breaking up with me now?
So have a good day, guys.
What are those Dutch countries she was talking about?
What happened?
Norm was
Jazzy and I had to break up, and I don't think she's taking it well.
Oh, that's sad.
I know.
I am curious though, how much longer we're going to pretend that AI isn't going to have the impact on the job market that it is clearly laid out in front of us with what we're seeing. Although H-1B stuff, all of this stuff, I can't help but see it going in a direction where you're basically going to the corporations are going to have to be somewhat nationalist. You can't have companies that are going to basically be employing or producing most of the productivity with very little employees here or anywhere. You can't have that be a company that is just totally global. AI is going to completely, I don't know if it seems like nobody's paying attention to it, which is a little odd. But we have 03 models likely going to come out in about a month or so. And this is beyond PhD level with the benchmarks. Now, they keep selling us this, the cost of intelligence is going close to zero. But really, this is another way of saying that, in a sense, that it's not even really that valuable for a human to have it. So this is going to be very interesting. I don't know how much longer like we're just going to pretend that it's not like knocking on the doorstep. It would be very good though. It's also inevitable. So there's that.
Well, I think I understand your point. How would you distill that into like one point around the H-1B visas?
Well, I mean, I don't think it really has anything to do with the H-1B necessarily. I think more so, I'm wondering when they're going to basically come outright with the idea that like, hey, or the next 20 to 40 years is going to be so different that this idea that like currently we're in the situation where if we don't have more children, then we are going to need immigrants. Just simply if you're working off a model where you have a job force that's paying into the tax pool that is supporting people that are not in the labor force. But that whole model, in theory, completely changes when we move into this age of whatever you want to call it, UBI, automation. That whole idea, people are no longer necessarily a liability. In that regard, I don't know.
How about like you were talking about companies being more nationalistic, which kind of interested me. Do you have any? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, how does that look?
Well, so for starters, all of these AI companies are saying, for the most part, they're saying what they need to say because they're still young. But everyone kind of agrees that like, this would be a great tool for everyone to have, but China, we can't let China beat us to it. So that's kind of like a contradicting statement, right? Like you can't really be for this thing being spread out to everybody, but also like at the same time, you need to be the superpower because understandably why you'd want to be the superpower that wins the race, but the opposition is going to feel the same way. So like I see it very much. It could fall into some sort of like nationalist. If it's going to be countries AI, which is really, when you look at the amount of energy that's going to be required to run these data centers, it's going to be very similar to just like countries in general, like the amount of resources that they're going to require in order to facilitate what they do, in order to have their productivity. I don't know. It gets very weird. I'm probably not smart enough to be able to tell you how this plays out, but I just don't really hear anyone actually talking about it. Very few people, for the most part, very few.
Yeah, no, I mean that's interesting. And you said something about they're going to have to be more nationalistic and less. I don't know if you said exactly like less global, but I'm just trying to understand in from your mind how that kind of looks, because to me, what's nationalistic is making sure that these companies that we have keep growing and they stay domestic in the sense of ownership. They're headquartered in the U.S., things like that. I don't really care where the talent's from or coming out of, but I think the best thing we can do is make sure that these are the best AI companies in the world, and they're still ours at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I would say it is an interesting, like when you say talent, we're getting close to the point where the talent is really just going to be the product. It's going to be the actual AI, which it gets a little fuzzy, right? Because it's like, well, it's not necessarily going to be employing a whole lot of people, but everybody's going to be using it. So it's like, what would really be the difference of saying, okay, well, you can have your software or your technology in our country, you basically employ a very small percent. You're basically kind of destroying or changing the job market. But you kind of want that, right? Because you want to be in first place with this thing. And the governments are going to be very intertwined. They're not quite yet. At least it seems on the outside, although I'm very skeptical of that, especially with OpenAI and some of the agreements that they have with the DoD, which like all of these things aren't. They should somewhat be expected. But yeah, it gets into a funny area where I don't know exactly how it plays out, but I know the whole sort of marketing campaign of like, abundance, post scarcity. There's going to be plenty of opportunity. Knowledge is going to cost next to nothing to have access to. These things aren't technically wrong. Like they're not lies, but I think they are painted in a way or framed in a way that's kind of misleading because I don't think we know exactly how that, like, what does that look like? Because it's all of these things are good, but it's also like inherently kind of taking away. It's basically making someone like me and you almost effectively indistinguishable from like an animal, right? Like there's no like inherent value that we could even offer to society or to the market, unless it's like we're allowed to produce it and offer it out of like to give us something to do. Like there's something that could do it far better, far cheaper. I don't know. But most people still think this is like, this sounds crazy and it's 20, 30, 40 years away. It's not at all. It's not at all.
Norm, how's your day been going? Have you argued with anyone today?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Oh my God, I saw Sarah Silverman last night. She was amazing. I took my kid. It was amazing. She did an hour on the death of her parents.
I heard someone else saw her in Texas or something and was talking about that and said it was a great show.
Tremendous. It was like one of the greatest I've ever been.
Oh wow, high praise. Are you watching the inauguration tomorrow?
I don't know. I've never been very interested in pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, I agree. Get the highlights.
Oh, very symbolic. But I had a weird thought a minute ago. If Trump won so decisively this time, and Biden has proven to be such a nothing as a president, if that's fair, and I don't want to unduly criticize him, then all those people who said the election was stolen, and then people what is the reason why? What's changed exactly? Trump is kind of the same guy. Excuse me.
And is it all that just people were just wanted a change for one term? What, like, what? It sort of lent credence to the idea that the 2020 election, let's just say something was not right. Am I making this persuasively at all?
I think I understand what you're saying. You're saying, like, it is funny that this time around he won so decisively and Biden won so big in terms of the popular vote in 2020. Like, it would make you think that one specifically was rigged, but why would that one be the only one? Because of COVID and the mail-in ballot, I guess?
Well, I'm not going all the way conspiracy theory. Yes, by the way, yes, that is.
It was too big to rig.
Yeah.
I managed to. I had to come in on my other phone because Dr. Adams is asleep at the wheel, and I couldn't get my other account on the stage.
Wake up, Adams.
Or past the mod. But it's interesting that each different.
Or agent.
Oh, what's different?
Yeah.
Well, I think the victories. Are you talking specifically about whether it was rigged or not, or just in general?
No, I don't really know, because that's a conspiracy rabbit hole that I don't want to bother with. It's already been litigated, by the way. No.
Okay, I think what's different in general, like, we've been through a lot. I think Trump in his first term, I don't think he expected to win. And then when he won, he just, it's incredible. Like, he almost stumbled into it with, like, just the uncouth, narcissistic, bullying, pettiness propelled him to the White House. And then he just continued for the 4 years. He was only, like, I guess he got a few things done, but, he was fighting all these, like, Lilliputians the whole time of, like, remember from the beginning, even before he won, it was Russia collusion hoax, it was the Ukraine hoax, the phone call, the perfect phone call, it was, I'm trying to remember the other things, but, the media just had such a circus for those 4 years, which he encouraged and fed into. But I think what's changed is, like, after Jan 6, I think he really calmed down. I mean, he did have the whole, like, it was rigged thing that he won't let go of, but it was stolen, whatever. But other than that, I think he's been quiet and sober, relatively speaking, for the last few years. And so I think he's changed. And also he had 4 years now to reflect, or for the Democrats to just, like, shit the bed in different ways, and just give him 4 years to regroup, actually get, like, total loyalists and competent loyalists for the most part, and be able to empower them. And he won at such a level that he just has, like, power like we haven't seen in a long time.
I don't think he's changed. I don't think that's it. I think people got fatigued with all the BS and kind of started to see through it more and more as time went on. And maybe obviously he was not as front and center because he wasn't the president, but the kind of Democrats took over. You saw the Twitter files, stuff like that, where it was just like, there is something to this, and the scare tactics and fear mongering doesn't work. And like you said, I do think you hit on something when you talked about Russia and the Ukraine, and then the other quote unquote lawfare, whatever. They just threw so much at him, and you saw that people got tired of the hysteria from the left, and that hysteria was combined with a lot of not type of like common sense thinking, and it just is not a state of mind that can hold people's attention forever. I think it got a lot of attention from people at the beginning because, you know, no one wants to be a bad person or whatever, and it's very bombastic and crazy. But once you got used to that and actually kind of started to maybe see where he was coming from or hear what he was saying, people are like, well, he's not perfect, that's for sure. But the other side is also not as good, especially with the Biden dropping out and him staying in the race for as long as he did. That started to show or make people think that, yeah, Trump's not great, but like, you know, your side of the street is not clean either.
But it was like total. I mean, I think the bubble totally burst with. They threw everything they had with Harris, just like their last desperate gasp. And the media's just been totally. I mean, you look at. They fired tons of people. I think they've largely just given up. They're so their spirits are crushed, and now a lot of them are just like, okay, like, so, you know, think like a dog. That's whatever. Now the dog is on its back. It's not barking anymore. It's like in total submission mode. I think that's like what's happened to the establishment and the media, the leftist, or just the liberals at least. I mean, the leftists are now like self-soothing, you know, at home, like rocking back and forth. But yeah, and so I think there's kind of a calm now. We'll see what happens.
What do you think, Norm?
How did you get the house back from the bank? I bought the bank. There he is. Welcome aboard. Care for a glass of Goût de Dimanche? I was just celebrating God's return out of the ground and back up into the sky. I heard you were a few crimes short of service. I was. Thank you. Until the good doctors at Arkham helped me find some much needed clarity. Now, you volunteered to destroy the bat free of charge while the pro bono work. It's personal. Let me guess.
Anyone tuned into the rally? Anyone see the Kid Rock performance?
I don't need to see Kid Rock another time in my entire life. I've seen too much of it since Trump has been around. I don't know. I'm happy for the people who like it.
He's so bad. He's just like screaming.
His name is Bruce Wayne. How did you get the house back from the bank?
I do wonder how it's going to play because there's going to be a lot of, criticism now that there will be things to criticize given he's the president. Wonder how the reaction will be digested or kind of portrayed on the left, communicated on the left. If, it'll still feel like the same old hysteria, or if there will be, I don't know. I'm just interested because I think a lot of what they did was to make everything a huge deal, and that ended up backfiring on them in the long term. So we'll see if they have more sober analysis. I think that would be wise for them, but I don't know.
Yeah, but tomorrow's going to be interesting. See how much stuff yeah, it's just, now I just get out the popcorn, see what, see what happens.
Yeah, I want to see what these executive orders are.
Thrifty Deb, you we invited you up. Oh wait, he's not here anymore.
Thank you. I started playing the piano and I forgot, and now I forgot what I was going to ask. But thank you. Hopefully I'll remember. It was something that Norm said.
What did I say?
God only knows. I don't remember what it was.
I'll tell you, what was the topic that because I was talking to my kids that I was ignoring the phone for a few minutes. What were you?
Well, no, this was before when you were on here, and then I went off and played the piano, and I just came back, and now I don't remember.
Wow.
Is everybody celebrating the return of the 3 hostages?
I thought you were going to say after Mac. Yeah, of course.
No, some of us are celebrating the release of 1,000 brutal butcher murderers.
I know it is an amazing